and welcome to episode 104 of the Noclip podcast. The on-screen shenanigans that happened before this podcast for the video version, we have to chill them out because the audio people are just like, why do you keep coming in with all this weird energy? It's because we're on video here on youtube.com/@Noclip podcast. I don't know how they do it anymore. Hello and welcome. It's episode 104. It's also the fourth episode of our Games of 2022 extravaganza. We have picked 3 podcasts ago, which feels like forever ago now. We picked 10 to 14 of our favorite games of the year. We have been since going through them, giving each of them their day in the sun, celebrating them, championing them, and then assigning them arbitrary, bespoke awards. We're not giving them best graphics technical, best graphics artistic. We're giving them their own awards because otherwise you end up in a situation where God of War and Elden Ring win everything, and nobody likes that, Jeff. Nobody likes that. That's boring. No offense. I think 103 million people watched the Game Awards. Something tells me we might not crest that particular hill. But we are here to talk about all of these amazing video games. Today, we are finishing off our 10 to 14 games. We aimed for a 10. We ended up on 14. But we also had a little bit of like, we're just sliding in our buddies there. Maybe at the end of this podcast, we'll trim it up. We're going to have a look at the 14 and see if we can get it down to a 10 or not. Who knows? Maybe we can. Maybe we can't. I was doing a lot of Trump-esque hand movements there, which really made me feel upsetting. Yeah. Maybe we'll do it.
This
Maybe
list is huge.
I don't know.
It's a huge list.
Yeah, you know.
People are saying Elden Ring is very big. It's a big game.
They're always telling me
it's a
this.
Big game. It's not as big as I've played bigger. I don't know.
This is really funny. Adam, who listens to the podcast, was like, you got to slip in your Trump impersonation somehow. And I'm so glad that's how we're starting this episode.
Yeah, I know.
It's like it was
I'm
planned.
great. Yeah, I think we had a Mein Kampf reference last week. It's all just happening.
Very good.
Here. We're having a great time. Anyway, we also have some awards because we've been tardy. So we also have some awards from previous days that we need to sort of clean up a little bit because we haven't gotten all of them done yet. But let's go through what we have so far. Vampire Survivors has won Best Fang for Your Buck. Return to Monkey Island needs its award back because we haven't. Oh, I came up with one actually on the way to work today. It was. Oh, I forgot it. I was going to write it down. I was like, you're going to forget it.
So
That's all the
confidently.
good ideas.
That was awesome.
Didn't write it down.
Was it Impossible Comeback, maybe? Impossible Comeback.
That's pretty good.
I think it was like pretty on the nose, but
Snappy.
You said that so confidently, it felt like someone was like,
Impossible
I invented the cure for cancer. Oh, you know what? I had left it in my other jacket. And that's
I did.
Laundromat.
Shit, sorry. Elden Ring, which we have to give an award, had Boundless Wonder Award, but we need to figure out a new one for that. Cult of the Lamb has Sweetest Execution, which is very true. Immortality won our Best Picture Award last week. Citizen Sleeper has the Narrative Shishimi Award. Signalis has Survival Horror Homecoming. Weird West wins Occult Classic. And Neon White still needs its award. But today, gentlefolk, we are going to talk about these 5 games. Tunic, Pentiment, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Horizon Forbidden West, and the God of War Ragnarok. Those are our 5 for today. Let's just jump right in. Andrew Scholdice, we had him on the first episode of Developer Breakdown. He talked a bunch about Tunic. Tunic is a video game where you play a fox. It is a Zelda-like, but there is so much more beneath the surface. Jesse Gracia, tell us why Tunic is on our list here.
So the reason that I kind of pitched Tunic, and I think it needs to be on here, is I was thinking about this a lot over the last couple of days. What exactly about Tunic do I think makes it stand out? Because the first half of the game is pretty good. Like, it's just pretty good. It has a really cool manual mechanic, which I think is immediately appealing. It has this beautiful artwork inside of it, these like cute little drawings. That's something that's going to be consistent between, I think, this and Pentiment, of like random menu drawings that are just really cute and nice to look at. But that's one part of it, is that unlocking that and sort of learning about this world and having it unfold literally as you rifle through this manual, which is, you know, a really cool inclusion, and it's fun to look for these pages and explore this world and try to figure out what's going on. It almost seems
because the game doesn't tell you anything, right? Because like there's a lot of like secret languages and like picking up items, kind of like From Software style, where you're like, I don't know what this does.
Exactly, and the whole manual, well, most of the manual is written in this like fake made up language for the game, which you can actually translate. It's very cool. It's like an actual language.
I'm sure, yeah.
There's like a cipher for it you can do. But so that's like the first half of the game, and is I think good enough. If that was what the game was, if that was the whole thing, I'd be like, yeah, I love it. The music is fantastic. That's fine. I'll buy the soundtrack. And then you finish it, or you think you finish it. Did any of you guys get past the final boss of the game?
Yeah, if you're coming in hot into our podcast this week, just say that we're gonna try not to get like overly aggressive on spoilers, but it is basically open season for a lot of these games. So if you're not sure which, if you want to play Tunic or Pentiment or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, if you don't want that spoiled, make sure you hit the. If you're watching YouTube, we have time codes, and if you go to the video or the audio description of this on your podcast thing of whatever, you can pick the time code there as well. Tunic, I might as well go first, I guess then. Sure. Tunic, I'm wondering when is the part where you have quote unquote completed the game when you get the 3 gems, or is it way after that?
Way after that.
Okay, so I am stuck in. And this is my one thing about Tunic that I feel like it gets in its way sometimes. I'm stuck in quite an annoying boss fight situation where I have to fight like 7 bosses in a row.
Oh yeah, you're in
the cathedral
underground part.
Yeah, I tried last night. I bet the final of the 3 bosses, which were good. Actually, I actually liked the 3 bosses for the 3 gems. I thought they were neat. The Sentinel and the dude and I'm trying not to give stuff away, but the other guy you have to kill who's got where you had the mask and all that sort of stuff. I think that stuff was cool, but yeah, I got to this one and I was like, no, fuck that. I'll come back. I'll come back tomorrow and do it.
It's tough. It's definitely.
So no, I didn't. So what about Frank and Jeremy? How far have you gotten in Tunic?
I am still fairly early, so I played a little bit of Tunic when it came out and liked it, but kind of bounced off it. And then had a similar experience to Weird West, where the endorsement of my fellow Game of the Year enthusiasts pushed me to give it another shot. And I feel like it's clicking way more this time. I've done sort of the first area, the bell towers, and now I feel like I'm kind of into the game proper. And I'm enjoying it. I think the thing that stands out the most to me is the manual pages and the way that the game kind of just throws you in without explaining anything, because in a weird way, like I think that was part of the reason I bounced off it initially, is it felt sparse, but I think if you give it enough time to breathe, that sparseness gives way to like what I thought was sparse was actually just sort of the world being mysterious, and then every little revelation of like, oh, you hit this button to level up at this place, those little tiny mechanical reveals feel like actually revelatory. So
Yeah, that's why I'm interested in what Jesse has to say about whatever happens next, because to me it's been this like outward spiral almost, where at the start it feels like a kind of a chintzy indie game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's cool and it's neat and it's like you said, it's like cool soundtrack and nice this and nice that, and then you get those like early sort of like, oh, that's how you upgrade. That's interesting, and then suddenly you're doing very simple things that had you known you could do them immediately would have like really fundamentally changed how you like explored that world. There's lots of like play with the isometric and the orthogonal angle, the orthographic projection that they use to like hide stuff, but then there's like loads of mechanical stuff that you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And then obviously there's a Metroidvania aspect to it of like getting, there's hooks everywhere you're looking at, and there's little bell chime things, and there's things that are stuck on parts of, like, I know in my head, I'm like, the minute I kill this final boss thing, I'm probably going to get something that lets me jump gaps, because like there's the last thing I have in the world to get to are all the things that are just over gaps that I have. Presumably I can fly. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to get something that's going to let me do that. Frank, how far did you get in Tunic?
I played maybe total an hour of it.
Okay.
I recognized it was something I was not going to beat by end of game of the year, but I had a friend, my friend Ryan, who like platinumed the game or he mastered it. So I just asked him like, just spoil it, tell me. And so he sat down like like a grandfather telling his child the stories of Tunic, and was like, tell me more. So he told me like the twist, the hook of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is cool. So I know it spoils.
Okay, yeah. So, well, don't let's. So, Jesse, I'm gonna let you have the responsibility of this because I am going to keep playing Tunic because I've been really enjoying it.
I am as well, yeah. But that being said, whatever you need to spoil to explain why this game is amazing, I will understand. But yeah,
So
whatever that balance is,
I have
is in
thought-
your
Can you
hands.
can you dance around it a little
yes,
bit?
I have
yeah,
thought
that's
long
what
and
I was
hard.
hoping. I didn't want to presume to ask for that, but yeah, I would hope so.
I have thought long and hard about how to talk about this part of the game
Okay.
without
Bless you.
spoiling it. Because it's like if you even
So there are these angels, right? And they're there
the whole time the game pulls out and you're actually in this child's bedroom. No, it's
That's what I thought it was gonna
No,
be.
that's
yeah.
high on life.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it
high on-
starts. Yeah. And then you see a bunch of AI generated images. But the so Tunic's twist is the thing that made me realize what Tunic was about. Because up until that point, it feels like Tunic is an homage to classic games. But once you get to the second half of the game, I realized that Tunic was about playing video games and about like what it used to be like
Right.
and about what it is currently like. And it's just like a great amalgamation of what gaming is. It's very cool. So the second half of Tunic is you complete the game by beating the boss or not beating the boss, which is sort of presented to you very early on. You know who it is. By the time you get there, you're like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I get to do that. Danny, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to
I've
be
already
doing.
fought them. I
Oh,
think,
yes, right.
but-
Yeah, because you had to go get the
But
stones.
yeah.
Anyway, you once you get to the end of the game and you beat the boss or don't beat the boss, you realize that there is this thing they call the Golden Path, and basically it's another quest inside of the game. Like it's like if you restart Zelda 2 and rename your character, or Zelda 1, sorry, and rename your character something else, you get like a
Right.
special quest line. In this, you are
And Golden Path is a game design term.
yeah.
The Golden Path is basically the primary quest that the game wants you to walk.
Right. And
You know, like the A quest.
this is like, because you don't know anything about the world, because you don't have all the manual pages, you can't possibly figure out what that golden path is supposed to be until you've discerned everything. But essentially, what you're doing in the second half of Tunic, like the function of that section is the whole world has had these bizarrely specifically placed items or like things that you see. Like you'll walk around and there's this chunk of something and it's like golden and you're like, what? Like what's going
Yes,
on with
I've
that?
seen them everywhere.
Right?
I'm
You're like,
wondering-
what are
I've been
these
wondering
3 or
what
4
those are, yeah.
chunks? Again,
Yeah.
without giving anything away, because if I tell you this, you cannot play Tunic correctly anymore. So I'm not going to tell you how it works. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But essentially, the second half of Tunic is playing with cheat codes. The whole game,
Oh, cool.
you are inputting
Oh, wow.
cheat codes, but you don't know what they are. You are just like going around and discovering what the cheat codes are. And
Okay.
like it is so
Wow.
shockingly smart because you are walking around in Tunic for the whole duration of the game. Literally one of the first things you see is this panel on the ground that is like golden. And it's like you walk up and you're like, what is this? What do I need this for? Maybe I'll unlock an item that
Yeah.
lets me use this or something. And then you walk away and you're like, oh. And you learn what it is later, right? But then there's other things like these doors. How do I open this door? Or you go into
Yeah.
like a cave and there's a cube that's just spinning in this cave.
And I will say, by the time you've reached where I am in the game, I've already started asking. The game is already assuming you're asking those questions,
Yeah.
right? Because everything, there has been so many like, what does that thing do? Oh, that's what that thing does. That now anyone who's playing Tunic a couple of hours in is looking at everything, being like, what are you?
Exactly.
What are you? Because it's all so visual. So it's when you mentioned that, I'm like, I figured it was the doors. I figured it was the big chunks that are everywhere. But obviously, how you interact with them is something that's interesting.
Yeah, the way that they interact, especially those chunks, is really cool. There's
Right.
something with I don't even want to say, but just like there's so much going on in Tunic in that second half that is so impressive and just like completely changes the way that you observe this world that you've been playing in for hours. You've been doing combat, and it turns out like you didn't even have to, but you just didn't know what the pieces were to look for. It's man. It's so cool. And it reminds me, like, it takes me back to inputting cheat codes, like in Grand Theft Auto, like trying to get all the guns and fly around and stuff. Because the way that you do it in Tunic, again, without saying literally what the mechanic is.
If you don't have to, don't.
No,
You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
going to.
Like,
No. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, if it's not going to add to the,
it is
the is this game good?
Yeah, but it's just the feeling of it is it just reminds you of inputting cheat codes in Grand Theft Auto or like any game, any old game. Frank?
I did want to say, and you guys touched on it in the developer breakdown video, but like the game has an in-game manual,
Yeah.
and even just seeing that and all the touches and details of that is beautiful. And as you play the game, you're collecting pages, and every page illuminates more to the game world, and like. Just like even that is such a beautiful throwback to old school gaming, or even like flipping through strategy guides, and like you'll even notice on manual pages like there's handwritten notes and stuff, and it's like. I don't know that it's like what Danny says. Like at first, it feels like a small indie game, but the more you play, it really is like, oh, this is beautiful. This is like it is a love letter to video games. And like again, I did cheat myself and not devote myself to seeing the whole experience. But like the manual is another thing that's worth talking about and highlighting. Of like just seeing it is so beautiful in the design, and it's also written in this like some parts written in that faux language like. That was an element I did want to highlight and just bring up for a second.
Totally,
how,
man.
how cute
Yeah.
and cool
I
that
think-
is.
And you're really scratching the surface, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's so
Yeah.
much like it's not even like you'll end up using. I remember that manual at the start. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe there's like some cute little things I'll learn in here. And then by the end, you're basically using it as like I need this has all the knowledge, and like
Yeah.
I need to figure out what these like weird things I keep picking up do. I've no idea, what I use them. And then sometimes you have to look at like 3 different pages on the manual to discern. That's what it is. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, the thing that I think, or the thing that surprised me about the manual, was that at the end of it, like, there's a note. It's like a regular manual, like a regular video game manual, because there are notes pages at the end, like. Just
Yeah.
the fact that they exist, like, there used to be in manuals, there'd be pages that are just blank, empty lines for you to write down things in, and that's here in that,
totally.
like, that's such a cool inclusion. That's so like that took me back. I was surprised because I was nostalgic for something, but it feels like I only barely got to be a part of that. And maybe that's why I like the second half.
You're a bit younger than us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like this is harkening back to like stuff that's even a bit young. Because you're saying Grand Theft Auto cheats, and you're talking about GTA 3 or
San Andreas,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So like, whereas this game is referencing like 1995 Zelda games or whatever.
Yeah. Very cool.
And how like NES codes were put in. Yeah. It's what else is there to say about it? I the combat is a funny one, right? Because like the combat is, it fits the scope of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think for most of it, where it's just kind of it's challenging at the start. Obviously, once you upgrade your character, a lot of that early stuff, thankfully, becomes pretty easy just to like wipe areas clean of baddies. I do think the boss fights are well designed, but I do feel like I don't know, the times it's like when it gets in its way, it's quite annoying. I think because like I don't know what it is. You get a lot of like interesting weapons that allow you to do lots of different types of combat, which especially with some of like special enemies really helps, and you can find ways of like using the environment to kill people by pulling them into areas and stuff like that, and there's elemental attacks and things like that. But I don't know what it is, but there's something about the combat that like when it's bad or when it's annoying and gets in the way, it's quite annoying. Have you felt that at all?
Oh man, sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
I was gonna say
This is for Jesse, I think, just because you've only played like 50 minutes of the game.
But I mean, that's early enough to figure out whether or not the combat clicks with you. But
I don't know. To me, it's not that early stuff is fine because it feels like that feels very video game. You've got a stick and you have to hit things with it, and it's like you'll die. the opening of the game only goes to sort of explain that the combat won't be trivial. That like you can get hurt very quickly, so you just need to make sure you're using your shield and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about later on when you have like multiple crocodiles running after you and laser turrets flying around, and you know what I mean, and some of the bigger fights where you're going through and all those candlestick motherfuckers running after you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you find that sort of? Did it get in your way, or was it just me because I'm just barreling through it trying to complete it for Game of the Year?
I mean, if you go around and you get all the upgrades, you usually have more than enough health. You're dealing enough damage typically. Like at one point they kind of tell you how much you need to fight a certain boss, but that's kind of the end point of them telling you how many upgrades you should have. I don't know. There's a couple boss fights. There's definitely one with, I think you mentioned a mask guy. I had to fight that guy for like 3 hours. It was hard. It was really, really hard.
That's funny. Yeah, the one before that was I think that actually the first one took me the longest. I killed him last night, but I kind of actually almost cheesed it because I killed him but died at the same time. But it still worked.
Yeah.
I went up and he was gone. I was like, oh, thank fuck for that. He was tricky, but in a way that was like I liked that one at least because it was like it kind of was the culmination of all the different things. Like you really need to be smart about your shield in that one. You can't. I mean, you can dodge a little bit, but it's a very shield heavy fight. And then also like there are some objects that help, like the bombs and stuff and the hook and things like that. But really, you just have to kind of. That's like a From Software fight where patience is what wins you that fight. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Which I kind of liked. And I think what I'm frustrated, maybe this is like a recency bias thing, but the fight that I'm in at the moment is basically, it's like a room where you have, it's kind of a cool challenge room, but I wish it wasn't like required, where it's like, there's 7 different candles you light, and each one you light spawns a new bunch of baddies, and you have to kill like 7 of them in a row.
Yeah.
And also they're like really different. There's like waves of them. And then at one stage you can go get a health pack, and it's just like, it's not that interesting. The combat's not that interesting to warrant me having to kill 8 of these things and 8 in a row. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing I'm a bit like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Really? Like just get out of the way, combat. I love this game. You're just like
it's about the reward. The reward of completing the challenge. And what you get in the end. It's about the gem. Come on.
It's about the gem.
I will also say there is accessibility options where you can turn off damage and stamina.
Yeah, I was going to say,
turn off damage?
do that. Just do that.
Yep. So, yeah.
Oh, dude, I'll just do that. I did not know that. Okay, I take it back. Game of the year. I take it back.
No, because what I was going to say is I started playing it like, this looks cool, and immediately the combat was kicking my ass, and I was like, oh, I'm too fucking tired for this. But I respect how cute and cool it is. But the fact that was in there, it's like, oh, so I was able to play more like last night and get enjoy it more. But I do appreciate that that's in there. Baby mode for me.
My first playthrough, I feel like I got a taste of the combat difficulty really early on because I got to the first boss before finding the sword, and I knew obviously it's
wow.
So I had seen
don't think
a
you
sign.
can.
No, you totally can.
Yeah, you don't need you don't get anything there by the
first
sword.
guard tower.
So
the first guard tower doesn't have any bushes to cut to get there.
Guard tower. Oh, that's not a boss. Sorry.
Or it's like a mini boss. It's like the first thing
it's a
you
mini
have.
boss. Yeah.
It's the first thing with a health bar that has.
Yeah, it's one of the big lads with the sword. Isn't it?
Yeah. It's like one of the little
okay.
Zelda pigmen. I guess mini boss, but the first kind of like serious enemy you get to. And I obviously realized that you're supposed to have the sword by then, but I just committed myself to beating it with the stick. And it took me so many fucking tries, and I feel like it gave me a baptism by fire about sort of the good and the bad of the combat in that game. Because the combat, I feel like when I went back and did, on my second playthrough, went back and did that fight with the sword, it's over like in a snap. Like you hit him 5 times and he's dead. I had to hit him like 30 times. And so it really like forces you to understand the dodging and kind of like the rhythm of this combat. And it really is punishing when you stretch those fights out over time. Because if if it's 5 hits to kill the guy and you're dead by then, it's like, all right, I'll go back and do that. It took 30 seconds. But when you've been hitting him with a stick for 10 minutes, it's like, oh no,
that's like one of the actual boss fights. But you did it like right at the start almost. You know what I mean? Because the actual boss fights do take a lot. Like you are kind of whittling them down over a long period of time.
For sure. Yeah.
That's wild, man. We should also just shout out the fact that like this game. looks beautiful. The animations are awesome. The character designs are really interesting, and it was basically all the work. Like not all. There was obviously some help, but like it was predominantly the work of one person. And it's one of those, like, you know, you talked yesterday about Signalis being such an impressive feat for such a small team, and just shows how far like technology has come to be able to enable people to do that. And Tunic is another amazing example of that. Just like, it's insane that this game was made by one person.
Yeah. I also wanted to say that I feel like this game, maybe this is just a me thing because I played a lot of Death's Door and did the Death's Door interview with the devs or
Right,
something.
yeah.
But I feel like because this game came out around the same time as Death's Door, I wonder if people kind of either overlooked it or assumed it was kind of another similar isometric action game. Because they do. I just was gonna say I feel like their presentations are similar, but they're very different games.
They are. I wonder. I don't know if Death's Door, how big a market was that for that game. It did all right. Yeah, 11,000 reviews on Steam, which is pretty good. That's probably more than Tunic. Tunic's a Game Pass game as well, right?
It is.
Yes.
Good old Game Pass. Pop a Game Pass game of the year. And Tunic's had, 6,000 or so. Yeah, so I guess they are in the same little box. I hear what you're saying, though. Yeah, there's actual parts of, specifically there are some parts of Tunic you would not have seen yet that are very Death Story.
Oh, really?
That are like, like sort of like the liminal space kind of stuff that's in Death's Door. Is quite in this as well.
It's funny because they're in some ways they're similar, but get it in. I mean, I'm only probably 3 hours into Tunic or something, but it feels very different once you get into the meat of it. And I don't know. And it was weird because they both kind of don't remind me. They're both sort of inspired by the same era of games, but neither of them remind me of any specific game that came before them. So it's funny that they, two separate teams of people, or a person and a team of people were inspired by the same thing and made a very similar sort of presenting game around the same time. It's just struck me as odd.
And it also, they could easily both be, I don't want to talk about Death's Door now, but like they both could easily be like rote as well, because they are both like cribbing off of like FromSoft games and roguelikes, but they're both like very unique. Like Tunic is like the sort of like, you mentioned Rediscovery Mystery as well last week. I feel like Tunic, if we were doing a Rediscovering Mystery version 2, Tunic would 100% be in it, because like all the stuff we were talking about in that documentary about, hiding, it's very The Witness in lots of ways as well, and very kind of like hiding its how you play it as well, like the tools and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a great. I'm kind of blown away by it. I feel like it's gonna be like. I feel like for some people it'll be like their favorite game ever. It feels like it has that like soul to it. It's got so much like soul, and like there's a lot of like love in it, and I don't know, like personality. It's just a great little thing.
Yeah,
Great
it's so
little fox.
handcrafted. I've even though I've only been playing for a few hours, I'm shocked how many times I've looked at an environment and then found a shortcut through it, and just like I don't know, how do you find that many ways to find shortcuts? I mean, I guess it's just a consequence of building the world, picking an angle, and then kind of like figuring out how you just hide something around a corner or put a cleverly placed tree or whatever. But it's shocking. It feels so like just hand designed. It feels like little secrets are woven into every bit of that game. It's really cool.
Yeah, a little awesome little thing. Tunic, we'll come back to it as well for its award pretty soon. First of all, let's have a little chat about Pentiment.
Yes.
Should be next. Who wants to take Pentiment? Is Jeremy, I feel like, is this?
Has anyone else beat Pentiment?
No.
I'm on the second chapter.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Pentiment is one of my favorite games of the year, far and away. I think it's so brilliant. I think it is another one of those games that is very text heavy. In fact, it's primarily a game about just reading, because you're just talking to people. It's not voice acted. It's a lot of text. I feel like it does a good job of presenting the text in very small blocks, though, so it feels approachable. But Pentiment is a sort of medieval era detective-ish RPG, kind of like slice of life RPG, I guess is a little more appropriate, but it feels like a murder mystery game. By Obsidian, it is a 2D game in the style of sort of medieval scroll art, like Renaissance art.
What a great sentence.
It's so good.
It's a 2D
Like,
game in the style of medieval scroll art.
it's so fucking. I don't even know what that style of art is called. I think it's called like Byzantine art or like Roman. I can't remember what it's called, but there's
It's like
some name for it.
tapestries or something.
It's like it looks like the weird animated sequences in Monty Python movies, but come to life.
Exactly.
But way more beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where's the foot?
But God, is this game good? This game is so fucking good. I saved the last probably 2-3 hours of this game until last night because I had just been savoring it. Because it's just, I don't even know where to start on why I love this game. I think the thing that's so compelling about it is, I think the character building is some of the best characters I've ever experienced in video games. It feels like such a mature expression of storycraft. It feels like these characters are so well considered. They're so woven into the fabric of this world. Like they don't feel like characters who are there to give you a quest. They don't feel like characters who are there to give you exposition. They feel like people who live in this world, and you go up to them and they're like weaving a wreath for the Advent festival, and they're like, you have questions asked, and they're like, all right, well, come down and sit, and like you just go around spending time with people, but in the context of this like solving a mystery. And it's like if Umberto Eco wrote a video game. I just like can't express how improbable it is that this game exists. It's also incredibly well researched. Since I rolled credits last night, I got to see that there is a very extensive bibliography for this game.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean,
when you're playing the game, you can literally access it. If people are
there's
talking,
a glossary.
Yeah.
There's a glossary. Yeah, if there's a term or even just sometimes they'll reference a city, and then you're like, what's the context of that? And you can hit the button, and it'll tell. There's like weird long finger. Point at it saying like, in Hamburg back then there was this thing called the fucking such and such, which was when all the archdukes.
You can
came.
learn a lot from this game. In fact, they'll say like, that guy's from Flanders, and you go to the glossary, you're like, wow, Flanders is not just the neighbor from The Simpsons. I've learned so much from this game. That is a huge part of why I think this game is worthwhile. I think that if totally divorced from the historical context, I still think this would be a very good video game. I think it's character driven, I think it's narrative driven, and I think it's driven by the core mechanic of like solving this mystery, putting together all these pieces and trying to understand what happened. But I think that if you made video games like this about different historical periods, this could be like in a syllabus in a school. In fact,
you're right. That's a good point. Yeah,
like it really is educational, and it not in a way where you used to play like Broderbund games in the 90s that were educational games. This is like a game that is just by existing educates you about the world. It invites curiosity about this place and this time, and like, I don't know, it just covers so many topics. Like, you don't even have to be interested in fucking Bavarian paganism to enjoy this game. Like, it doesn't matter. And in fact, I asked a few other people I know who've completed this game sort of what their experience was, because I was worried that my interest in classics and in the occult and in religion and in history were kind of coloring my experience. I thought maybe this was like a me game, but not a everyone game. But everyone I know who's completed this game has absolutely loved it.
It feels like one of those games where I think we talked about this. I mentioned about Signalis yesterday, where like I feel like the art of this game and its name and its presentation is a fairly good filter. Like if you can get past that, like if you're like a Call of Duty bro and you see this, you're not gonna give it a go. You know what I mean? Like it's
on Game Pass though.
That's
it's on
true.
Game Pass.
Check it out.
Yeah. You never know.
Josh Sawyer said on the interview with Rob Zachney over on Waypoint that he said the game wouldn't exist without Game Pass. It's a game that's made for that type of, which I can see, because it is a very like, if you give it a go, to contradict myself immediately, I guess it is a very like, if you gave it a go, you'll probably stick with it. You know,
dude, that's what I was. I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and I was saying like, I wonder how many just like normal ass bros who have Game Pass are like, yo, dude, you see this game about like fucking, yo, there's like monks and shit.
I kissed a nun.
There's monks and shit, dude. It's crazy. I want to play this. It looks sick.
But I wonder, like, if even 10% of those people are exposed to I mean, because I would have said the same thing about Disco Elysium when it came out, that it was this sort of like weird niche thing that's only, if you like sort of Eastern European communist counterculture, you might enjoy this game. But it's found such a wide audience, and not just in people who are interested in politics, not just people who are interested in tabletop, not just people who are interested in classic CRPGs. It's sort of like transcended the audience I think it was intended for. So I wonder if Pentiment will find its audience. I wonder if in a few years people will see it as a game that's not just kind of like for fucking nerds.
So like, I get what you're saying, but like, I think the thing that is so appealing about Pentiment is that you're just playing as a nosy bitch. Which is so much fun. This guy is just going around. He is the nosiest person on planet Earth, and it is so much fun to just like. There's a whole section where you can hang out with these.
down in the awards section.
Yeah, the nosiest bitch award. Send that to Josh Shore. I'm sure he'll love that. But like,
I will not allow that to be the award.
There's a whole section where you can spin wool with the women of the town.
Yes.
And like,
oh shit! I forgot to go back and do the
dude.
wall.
See,
they're gonna be so annoyed.
That's the kind of they're gonna be like, why didn't you come back? What are you doing? Yeah, it's so you can sit there and you can spin wool with them and like you can get the hot goss. They spill the tea. I've been playing this with my fiance, and it has been a truly enjoyable experience to play an RPG where she like gets to just be like, go figure out what's going on there. She's like, ask the question. Ask, like, every time it's like, do you want to say something nice or do you want to say some bitchy mean thing where they'll answer a question? She's like, say the bitchy mean thing.
Yeah.
This is like, this guy is just spilling the tea. He's had enough of it. You're hiding in things all the time. There's like a tree trunk that you can go inside of and peer your head out and watch these guys fish. It is like, you're just the nosiest bitch. And it doesn't matter what context this is in. Like, it works anywhere. Being a nosy bitch is fun. But then also, it has this really cool cultural setting and like different things that you can learn. There's tons of like, everybody loves a good Da Vinci Code, you know, a little bit of political or religious intrigue. It's all that kind of stuff. And then also it's a solid social RPG. There's so many parts of it that on their own are so perfectly executed that I don't think it matters whether or not you're into, you know, one thing on its own. You don't even really have to engage with that. If you don't like the gossip stuff, you can go do the like detective intrigue stuff. Like you could have chosen, when I was at the point where you could go do the gossip, there was the gossip, and then there was a guy you could follow to like figure out what he was doing on the like what his regular path is in that day. And like, that's amazing. You can just go do that if you don't care about the gossip with the women. That's great. Like there's so many moments like that in the first act, and then the second act is like
dude,
such a
I'm totally going to avoid talking about a huge dimension of this game because I am so glad I was not spoiled on it. I think you should just play this game. Do not read the Steam reviews. There are so many Steam reviews that are like, wow, it's so cool that a game did, and it's like, no, that's like, don't give that away. Preserve some mystery, people. What are you doing? Although, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, you can talk about this whole game. The first act is representative of sort of what's great about the game anyway. But yeah, I also just like some of these characters. Finishing the game last night, only like the last 2-3 hours, I cried like 5 times. This game is so profoundly beautiful, and these characters are so like their plight is so moving to me. And after you spend this much time with them, this game really becomes about this community. Like it no longer is just about your character and their place in this world. It's about like it's about this town as a cross section of humanity. It is about focusing in on this area of the world at a very specific time and all of these things that happen to all of these people, and sort of like the way that communities sort of are bent and fractured by large events happening to them. And I'm trying to talk around the mystery stuff so much, but just it's about a community. It's about like connection with people, and it's about like what gives our lives purpose. And it is so rare to say that about a video game, that the core mechanic is like the seeking purpose in life and like processing trauma and all these. It's just
dude,
like,
I feel like it's
so
become
good.
like actually fairly weird. We're talking about like Citizen Sleeper. Like that's a game that's about spending your day and talking to your community and all that sort of stuff, you know. Immortality, I feel like, is so much about, at least for us here, is about like creative craft and how much effort you put into it, and you know, all that sort of stuff. It is like it feels like this year was a fairly like mature year for games. Like there was some like really good stuff going on. I really enjoyed Pentiment. I'm in the second act at the moment. Not to color it, but the one annoying thing that I had was that the sort of final decision that you get to make at the end of the first act, I wanted my decision to be say nothing, but I had to choose one, and it really annoyed me. And that was the most, oh, this is a video game moment. And I also can understand how downstream maybe they need you to have some agency in the decision, but I wanted to just let it go the way it was going to go. And there didn't seem to be a way to do that. I had to just blame the thing on somebody, and I blamed it on the person I thought would be that would have probably gotten in trouble anyway. So so it was like kind of annoying to me, and like so that was the only moment that I've not enjoyed, and I'm hoping that it doesn't have too much of a sort of a shadow on the rest of it. But the writing is super good. I think this is a good example of, because again, I talked last week about how I'm really bad when it comes to reading, and this is a game that is incredibly brief and just really novel in the way that it presents. Like the fact that it uses different script for different, like how your character relates to them in terms of their class, I think. Which I found really interesting. Like you meet a common person, and they've got like sort of like nasty writing that comes up, and then they tell you they went to college in Flanders or whatever, and suddenly they get a little bit fancier or whatever. Or like the guy who works as the printing press dude has all of the little
blocks kind of inlaying the text.
All that sort of stuff is quite cute. You can pet the cats as well, which is also very good.
Yes.
Big fan of how it leaves a space for any religious reference so that they can pick up the red pen at the end and, and fill in God or Jesus or whatever.
Yeah, very cool.
Thought it was quite cool. I really enjoyed my favorite part so far has been just like bouncing around the abbey, because the monastery, because having grown up in a very like Catholic society where it's just kind of everywhere, and like I went to school in a school where Christian brothers, or De La Salle brothers rather, slept in there, and I had teachers who were brothers and monks, and we talked to monks and nuns, and I had an aunt who was a nun, and I had a granduncle who was a hermit. You know what I mean? Like it's that type of religion in the community, and how you relate to those people, and the words you use, and the sort of affect that you have when you're talking to those like spiritual authority figures is like 100% here. And like the way in which he talks to people, and also like the sort of like the bitchy vicar, you know what I mean? Like like everyone doesn't like of course it's like the person who got to the top is always the one that had the most ambition, even in religion. And then like the sweet old man who's like got his broken back and is like, he's he can't draw as well as he used to, whatever. I loved all there's so many characters. Like who let's do a round table. Like who's favorite character from Pentiment chapter 1? You know what I mean? Like who are some of the ones that stand out to you? I really liked I think it was not Mother Illuminata, although she was quite sweet. The one who was flirting with you from behind the door.
Oh, isn't that Illuminata?
In the library.
Zdena, the
Is that her
younger
name?
ZDE.
Who I ended up making out with.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you?
Did you? That's
Wait,
so
what?
funny.
You could do that?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Dude,
Yeah.
there are so many. Okay, so full disclosure, I finished the first act, and I kind of didn't understand how the game wanted me to play it, and at some point, like Danny said, you have to make a decision at the end of the first act, and I did not feel prepared for that decision.
no.
Right.
We didn't
Oh,
either.
cool.
No,
Did you go back?
I restarted the game because the outcome of the first act is not short. This was not a trivial restart of a game. I was so unhappy with the outcome of the first act that like this game went from a 10 to like a 6 for me for like a few days. I was legitimately
I might
really
do the
upset.
same thing, because that is literally the reason why I'm a little bit bitter about it.
I
didn't need to nail the start, because I'm not sure if you can get it right, but like I knew I was getting it wrong, but I wanted to get it wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Like passively. Yeah, and it wouldn't.
No,
wouldn't
it makes
give
you
that
take
choice.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Well, that's why you're not allowed to not partake in the decision making, is because the game wants you to take agency.
have skin in the game, kind
Yeah,
of, for what
because-
happens next or something.
Totally,
or,
because like
yeah.
something's gonna happen. Like the wheels of time keep grinding on,
You're right.
and if you're not part of making that decision, then when the game later on is like, hey, remember that thing that happened? You'll be like, yeah, I guess so. I was there. But if
fair.
if your fingerprints are all over whatever happened, then it's like it feels very different. So yeah, I was devastated by what happened at the end of the first act, and I was talking to a friend of mine who was playing it at the same time, and they're like, "Did you get tagged too?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Wait, I thought you loved this game." I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." I was actually upset.
Me too. Yeah.
And then I restarted the game, and I was so much happier. So yeah, the one piece of advice I'll give to people starting this game is be like be very decisive about how you spend your time.
Yeah.
In the first act, you'll know when an event is going to pass time and when it's just going around talking to people. They feel differently. It'll like prompt you and say like, "This might take a while. Do you want to do this?"
Oh, it's Vespers.
Yeah. Be very decisive about what you do. That's all I'll say. But I'm glad I restarted it. It ripples throughout the rest of the game. This is a game that
I think I'm going to do that because also the start of the game is so like replayable and enjoyable.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
you
like
can
going
make
back
different
and playing
decisions too.
Totally.
Start
Yeah.
of like a Fallout game or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
New Vegas
Yeah.
specifically.
Well, the one of the greatest things about this game that makes it stand out for me that immediately on it was cracking up laughing is like a normal RPG. You go in and you're like, oh, I'm like a gnome barbarian who does like leatherworking, and in this game it's like, oh no, I'm like an occultist like art person who like studied in Prague, and like that's your class, and it makes you decide those things like they're classes, like barbarian and warrior and stuff.
Yeah.
And
They're
it's
like,
just
do you know French or Italian?
Yeah, and it ripples throughout the game so profoundly. Like, this is a fun game to talk to other people who've completed it because they will have seen completely different things than you. There is so much to this game, like Disco Elysium. There's so much to this game that is missable, and I think that is I think you need to embrace that rather than saying that it's like, because I could see how that would be frustrating because I inherently want to see it all because I like this world, I like these characters, I like the writing, but I think that's also what makes it feel special. What makes your playthrough feel unique is that you saw certain things and other people saw different things. So yeah, I cannot speak highly enough of this game. It is if Signalis didn't come out this year, this would probably be my number one. In fact, they're probably tied. Maybe I'm saying that because I completed Pentiment last night, but like, God, it just like moved me to tears.
I'm going to take a leaf from your book and re-roll the start. I think because I really do enjoy it, and also to be honest, I think it's not even because I hear now somebody's going to be listening to this and be like, oh, I'm gonna have to replay the start twice. That sounds like a big investment. I'm actually in a way more excited to replay the start of that because kind of like when you play a game. Tunic is not a bad example of this, but I don't know. There's probably another game on here that is a stronger one of it. But like when you play a game and like Pentiment is such I am struggling to think of literally any other game that this is like. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like a 2D it does not feel like a point and click game. I guess that's the closest thing you could say it to, but it doesn't feel like that mechanically at all. It doesn't feel, there's no platforming, it's all talking, but it's also not talking like other talking games. It's like, it's so weird. It's so weird. And I think now that I understand kind of what game it is, I think I'll enjoy replaying the start again because there's so much variety, and at least now I know where the borders are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always feel like that's an important. We talked about this a few weeks back, where you were saying about whoever it was who said, give me a game of the breadth of a. What is it? The breadth of a puddle, but the depth of an ocean. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of need to know. Sometimes, like, I feel like a lot of times people talk about games in terms of like, oh, it's so expansive and it feels like a real world. I don't think people like that. I think people like knowing the simulation and like knowing what the rules are and then fucking around with those rules. And I think like once you understand the borders of a game, then you can sort of like, oh, this is the play space. Okay, this is what we're doing. So that's kind of why I'm jazzed to.
Yeah, no, totally. I felt like I was fucking around my first playthrough, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, here's the horrible consequences for you fucking around. And I was like, oh no, I need to like. What I thought was just like color dialogue, where it's like, oh no, I want to be like a little rude and funny, or do I want to be like nice and empathetic? Is actually like steering the course of the game in such a profound way. And I was like, oh no, don't be like messing around. This isn't just color dialogue.
I just want Martin to like me. Why did Martin keep calling me a shithead or whatever every time
I was
he
mean
sees
to Martin. Frame one, dude. Second I had the chance, I was like,
Yeah,
I was
I
mean
watched
to
it
Martin
too.
too.
Yeah.
God, but that's the cool thing about this game too, is just like watching these characters go through things and like getting an initial impression of someone and then seeing them like later in the game and seeing how they've changed and seeing sort of like how events have like changed their outlook and their affect and stuff, and it gives you this is the last thing I'll say. This game has such empathy for its characters that even the worst people in the game, maybe not all the worst people in the game, but the 90% of these characters characters have something redeemable in them. Even if you don't like them, even if they seem like a dick or they're a thief or a drunk or like selfish, you will see their humanity in such a profound way that like is rare for me in games. Even games that are they're narratively driven. I think Citizen Sleeper is a good comparison actually.
Frank, you didn't play this, right?
I played like 30 minutes last night. I blew it.
Okay.
But,
no,
You didn't
no,
blow
no,
it, dude.
You don't blow it. There's a lot of games to play. Don't worry. And guess what? You're going to be the only person talking about the next one. I have an important question for you, though. I saw you liked my tweet thread last night of the Pentiment animal illustration
Yes.
appreciation thread. Could you give me your feedback on what your favorite one of the animals?
there was like the cat holding a bomb, or it had like a jetpack.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. This one, Moggy Bomb, I called her.
Look at her.
Yeah.
There she
Look at
is.
her.
I will say about this game, what I do like is it also reminds me of like films in the last year. There's like The Norseman and then like Midsommar. Like I like stuff that pulls from old traditional art and folk stuff like this.
Yeah.
So like it did hook me. But yeah, that art looks sick. Like and Jeremy also talked about the art style. Like to me, this game looks like a playable comic book. And like Citizen Sleeper, it's like, oh, I can be in a different brain space. Sometimes I'll play so many games and I get what I call gamed out. Like I don't want to play a game. Oh, this is I could just read and enjoy it. And like I really liked the Outer Worlds, and that Obsidian game had beautiful characters and awesome stories, and also wasn't like 100 hours. So I am like now sold on this game, and it does feel like an art house game, and I like that Game Pass allows an avenue for weird games like this to exist. So yeah, I'm now charmed by it.
Yeah, Frank, I think you'd like it. You're one of the most voracious readers that I know, and this game is just like the best playable visual book I've ever played. Maybe. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm very happy for Josh Sawyer. He's someone whose work I really like. He obviously worked on Fallout New Vegas, and people will not stop asking him about it. Seems like people hone in on that, but he also worked on was the Obsidian CRPGs? Was it Pillars of Eternity?
Of Eternity, yeah. POE,
Yeah, so he worked on those games too, and from what I gathered, they did not sell as well as were projected, which is a shame because I haven't played them, but I've heard they're very good. And Josh Sawyer is like a very passionate narrative designer, RPG designer. He's also someone who's very interested in history and like culture, and this game seems like such a passion project in the most profound sense of the word. Like just someone who loves this period in history and this place in the world and got to make a video game about a subject that most people never think about.
Jeremy,
So-
who among us hasn't dreamed about making a sort of Baroque arc? Baroque's not the word. What was the word you used again?
Byzantine?
Byzantine. Sorry,
I think
yeah.
Byzantine art is the name of I might be wrong on that. Sorry,
Baroque.
classic scholars.
Isn't Baroque like a style of architecture, isn't it? Like Gothic
so.
and Baroque, I think it is.
That sounds right to me.
I think I learned that from Beauty and the Beast. Pentiment. It's up for the Nosy Bitch Award. We'll get around to
It's
that.
not. It's not up for that award. That award doesn't exist.
Awards. It's not award time yet. We've time for one more game before our first break. Frank Howley,
Yes.
you are responsible for this, and I'm glad because I got to play a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for the past 2 weeks, and I haven't had that much fun playing Xbox multiplayer shooters in quite a while. This game slaps. I'm enjoying it a lot. Tell us what's so great about COD Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 version.
Call of Duty is for the gamers. Call of Duty.
Here he goes.
Call of
Shit.
Duty to
Fucking
me.
presidential address.
Oh man, Call of Duty makes me smile. Call of Duty makes me laugh. Call of Duty, it's what I love about Call of Duty is a new entry comes out every year, and sometimes I'm really hot on Call of Duty, sometimes I'm really cold. I kind of, there's 2007 Modern Warfare came out, changed online shooters forever. I was in high school, awesome. And then every few years, a new one would come out that really fucking slapped. Modern Warfare 2 is great, Black Ops, and then Fatigue burned out on it. Over quarantine, all my friends and I, we got together and we played Cold War, and that was like surprisingly great. We're like, oh, Call of Duty's back, awesome. We were burned by Vanguard. It wasn't really good. It was buggy at launch. So coming into Modern Warfare 2, it's almost this like effect where you've forgotten like the disappointment and you get sucked into the hype cycle. So like, all right, let's get Modern Warfare 2. And we were all legitimately surprised that it was great. Like this new Call of Duty, it also feels like a return to basics. I mean, them even rebooting and calling it Modern Warfare again. It's boots on the ground Call of Duty. You're not in robot suits. You're not doing triple jumps. It's very grounded. Even as fast and as ridiculous as it is, it's still like it's a return to center for Call of Duty. So what makes this one great is nowadays with Call of Duty, everything is cross-play. So PC can play with Xbox, PlayStation. They've had that for a while. But what this means is like every time this Call of Duty comes out, and specifically this year, it's like I reconnect with like 100 different friends across different like communities, gaming ecosystems. So I always have people to play with. And playing Call of Duty online, again, I never touched a single player. I know it's in there. I'm sure it's great. I know people worked hard on it. That's not for me. I just
It's all right. I played a couple hours of it. It's there's some bum levels and some good levels.
Yeah. But what I really like about Call of Duty is it's just so fun getting like the group together, the homies together, and just doing those matches. And we'll be in the lobbies for like up to 4 hours, and the whole time like it's just a party. Everyone is laughing, or there's times where we're getting our asses kicked and we're very serious and quiet. There's essentially shit talking. There's open voice communications. This Call of Duty introduces proximity chat, which hasn't really been a feature since like Halo 2. So the chirps you'll hear from players, someone will say something and then we'll just start laughing about it for an hour straight, like random things. Like we were playing Warzone and some kid was just running by and yelled, "Cameron, no eating chips in the gulag." What the hell did that mean? I think it meant like in the gulag, this is your one chance to survive, and maybe his friend was snacking. And
beautiful.
Like, so now
Love
that
it.
became a meme, my friends, that I echo. And even with Call of Duty, there's so much like I legitimately love it, but there's also something so fun buying into the hype, like being a mark for Call of Duty where, oh my God, there's exclusive Call of Duty beef jerky, and you buy this beef jerky, you can get the skin. Or maybe you have a friend who works at Big Lots and he steals the codes off the beef jerky and then shares them to the Discord. You don't know.
Committing
I'm
crimes?
not saying these
What's
things
going on?
may or may have not happened.
Wow. Code crimes happening.
You get the Mountain Dews. It's like all of a sudden the world turns into Call of Duty censure, and like it's such a break from like other work, other day-to-day, other gaming. Like I don't ever play competitive games, but Call of Duty is also like my Tony Hawk, where it's like, oh, I'm actually really good at Call of Duty because I probably have cumulatively like 4,000 hours across the 10, 20 Call of Duties.
So so all sounds awesome. I
Yes.
love it. You've this great social life around this game. What is it about the game? Because like the thing about like playing with friends is you can play me and my buddies used to have this thing where we'd do LAN parties in my gaff and we would play the worst games ever. We would hunt down, this is like pre-Steam, we would hunt down like weird demo discs or whatever of just like the trashiest game that would allow us to play multiplayer. And it was still fun because you're playing with buddies, right? So you get all that for free. What is it about how this game like plays? About the levels, about the guns, about the mechanics, about the unlocks, about how it like the motion, all that sort of stuff that makes it one of the best games of the year?
So in terms of weapon balance, I feel like compared to Vanguard this year, Vanguard weapon stuff was very broken. There were builds where you could get shot in two hits and you're done. This game, there's so many different weapons, and everyone feels satisfying to play as. The way I'll play is I'll pick a weapon, I'll max out to level 20, pick the next one, and like you're able to be good with every weapon is what it feels like. And even guns I usually don't play, like single shot rifles or sniper rifles, you're still able to get kills with. It's also satisfying picking up different weapons. So that progression of there's so many weapons, different ways you can build them is good. It doesn't feel broken. It works. Queuing up with friends works. The lobbies weren't too broken. It works. The one thing that really evolved from this Call of Duty compared to previous ones is the third person mode, which like legitimately is like such a breath of fresh air. I feel like it wasn't even marketed or mentioned until we discovered it in the game, and I feel like it makes Call of Duty even sillier than it has been, and makes it even like lighter and funnier. It's more fun to play as opposed to how aggressive and narrow like the first person mode stuff is. So with the third person mode, it kind of makes the game feel like Fortnite, where you're running around super fast and it's very silly. But it also it makes it feel like SOCOM or Ghost Recon. But when playing Call of Duty in third person, now it changes the way you play. You can peek over walls much easier by just moving your guy. And like, I don't know if everyone plays to that advantage or if everyone's playing it like a regular Call of Duty, but it kind of changes the tactics of our crew and the way we play. And I feel like, I don't know if there's an advantage of the mode, but I really like third person mode. So that feels good. The level variety, I think the game launched with maybe 9 to 10 levels, but there are some cool ones. There's some very Hitman type levels. There's a Formula One like racing track level that's very satisfying.
I've still not gotten that one. I need to.
That one's really cool. There's like there's generic villages and stuff like that, but
I've really enjoyed a lot of the like smaller ones, like the it's one of those. I've been playing a lot of like Mosh Pit or whatever, like smaller kind of games where you're doing a lot of like, it's like whatever 5v5 and you've got like kill confirmed and all those bits and bobs, and there's so many like the small patch of levels that I keep circling in for whatever reason, maybe it's the modes I'm picking or maybe it's something else, are so good. They're very like, I don't want to like oversell it, but like they're sort of like dust and office levels where like, oh, I'm just happy to keep playing this level forever. This is actually like there's so many different like ways around this and like ways to jump over it, and like sniper perches that are also easy to find back doors into and all that sort of stuff. I've been enjoying the readability of a lot more, like in the past couple of years, CODs, because I feel like I've given every other Call of Duty a go for the past like 8 years, like just like maybe this one will grab me like the last one, and it never quite does, or like the earlier ones. And these ones, for whatever reason, those I feel like the maps are very economical and like well designed, easy to sort of enjoy without being like completely murked by everyone, but also there's like levels to them as well.
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe two maps that come to mind where it's very, I guess, long and narrow. Like if you're doing the domination point, where if you get capped 2-1, you're kind of stuck. But I feel like in older Call of Duties, you would always get screwed, and it's brutal. This one, it feels like the maps are much more like square, or like you can circle around. There's different entrances. There is verticality. You can parkour, ladder, climb on trucks. But then there's also some unique gimmick maps. There's a map that is just a freeway, and it's like that scene in Sicario where the cartel's at war with the border patrol, and you can throw a grenade and ignite like 5 different cars and you get free kills like that. And a lot of people hate that map. I adore it. So I'm excited for future maps, and I think what they've confirmed is like they're going to remake Modern Warfare 2, OG Xbox Modern Warfare 2 maps. And this one, I don't want to say judging this game of the year for what is in its future, but I think this is a great foundation for Call of Duty. And then the other thing, like adding the value, is there's Warzone 2.0, so the next Warzone, which is good, but the other element that surprised me, in addition to the third-person mode, is the DMZ mode, which is kind of this PvP, PvE mode that Call of Duty added, which is like a breather compared to how intense the regular multiplayer stuff is.
Is that part of the game, or is that because Warzone's free? Is DMZ mode free as well? Yeah,
DMZ mode is free, so that's also a weird way of categorizing. Whereas Modern Warfare 2 is also like the new like ecosystem thing, but then technically Warzone and DMZ it's part of the package, but it could also be judged as its own game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's in the menus. It's like right there with everything. Yeah, so I hear what you're saying. You're not buying those, but yeah.
So there's a lot of content, and like there is 2-player co-op missions, the Spec Ops which I have yet to touch. There is the campaign, but I really like it, and I think that also says a lot where it's like they have yet to gone fully goofy with it. There aren't the goofy cosmetic stuff yet. I haven't seen how weird or esoteric they get with the DLC, but like I have already gotten so much more fun and value out of this Call of Duty compared to Vanguard, even the later Battlefields or other stuff. Like it's really solid. It's really fun with friends, and it's that thing where like at least once a week my friends and I'm like, you want to play Call of Duty? Yeah, like you just need one person, and then we get a whole crew together, and it's just the rest of the night is surfing, laughing, good times. It feels good to play too. And then there is also
shooting's really good. Shooting's really good. Yeah, headshots are super satisfying. Yeah, all that stuff works and feels really good.
Yeah. I haven't played a Call of Duty game since Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2.
Jesus Christ.
I think the last Call of Duty game I played was in probably like 2009 or something, 2010. Whatever one now. I think it was Modern Warfare 2 actually, which is funny. So I used to be a huge fan of the Call of Duty series. I was also like Battlefield 2 was probably my favorite game of all time in terms of like competitive online FPS games. So I used to be super into that very specific niche of not like realistic in the terms of like milsim, like not Arma and stuff, but games that they're presenting as realistic. And games like the shooter games that I've played more recently are things like Apex. And so it was fun to come back to this because it was on Frank's list. I really wanted to give it a go. And like the low time to kill and the sort of like presentation of realism, having real guns, like using an M4, not like a laser machine gun from Apex and stuff. It actually felt very refreshing. It's easy to take for granted how good it feels to shoot in a Call of Duty game because it's just kind of like the big it's like saying the football feels good in Madden or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's just baked in. Like you take it for granted. But I played some DMZ and some Warzone, and had a really good time. Shout out Pistol Pete, my squad mate. We were doing some work. So it was.
Is Pistol Pete somebody you know, or
no?
It's
Pistol
a
Pete is
random
stranger
saving his
on the
life.
internet, but he was a very nice man. Pistol Pete, if you hear this, hit me up, dude. Let's get coffee sometime.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We have only 2 games left on our list. We're going to take a short little break, and we'll be back to talk about Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. See you in literally 2 seconds. Hello, friends, and welcome back to our Game of the Year discussions. We're in the final chapter of the final episode of presumably the final podcast of the Game of the Year. And then it's 2023, and we have a whole new year of video games to come out. I don't even know what's coming out next year.
A lot.
I don't even give a shit. Hades 2 is coming out in early access, apparently. Presumably Hyperlight
Breaker?
Hyperlight Breaker is coming out. I'm editing the episode right now. You think I'd know the name of the game. Yeah, those games have nothing in common. But we're not here to talk about games from next year. We're talking about the games we liked from 2022, and we have 2 left. The first of which is Horizon Forbidden West. This is a me and Jesse joint, I think. Frank, did you play any Horizon? I know Jeremy did not get around to it.
I played like 4 hours of it, but I bounced off quickly because I played so much Monster Hunter Rise right before, and it was like so similar, and I was like, oh, I'm not in the mood for this, but it's on my backlog.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This was the only game I didn't get to, and I want to play the first Horizon. It is a series that I have just slept on,
Oh man,
criminally
you
slept
haven't played
on.
Zero Dawn?
No.
Dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a. I don't know how you do it now. I guess
Yeah.
you play the PS. Was it PS4? Wasn't it?
Yeah, but you play on PC.
Was it? Yeah.
There's like a
So yeah. PC version. Horizon Forbidden West. What to say about Horizon? I just really like these games a lot for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is they are sort of in the same way that Frank was talking about Call of Duty as like this sort of like good vibes game. I have always had a warm place in my heart for Horizon. The first Horizon came out during like a bout of depression and was just like super good salve for the soul. Just like everything about the exploring the world and the types of stories it tells about community and, you know, just helping people who are down and out and stuff. It's a beautiful world to be in. The music is very uplifting. It's a very like soul-rich, soul-enriching sort of game. And for Forbidden West is like the sort of for me is the quintessential. We have made one of these games. We now know what type of game we're making. Let's sort of like turn all the cranks up to 11. It's just like so vast. Like the stretch of land you're exploring is just like ridiculous. Like covering something like 7 American states. There are a lot of states that I'm very familiar with. I'm familiar driving around and exploring. So it was really fun to do it on foot in this game. I think the diversity of the different clans and the ways in which they sort of relate to technology is not, you know, it's somewhat similar to the way we were talking about how Signalis is interesting in the way it has like the different androids and stuff like that. Like it's always just interesting in seeing like, oh, this one tribe decided to become like at one with Earth because there were all these like sort of weird brontosaurus looking things or little I guess they're not, they're kind of like little cows almost outside, which are like fertilizer robots that are passive and don't attack anyone, so they've become this like community that sort of relies on them. And then like there's the one tribe which is over near the Air Force base where there was all of these like these heroic veterans of a war that was prior to the war that they talked about in the first game. And they're all very like regal and follow like very similar, authority patterns in terms of like commanders, and the words they use are very like army focused because of the way in which they sort of interpreted their stuff there. And then there's the one over near Berkeley, which is like near a lab, and it's just always fascinating. It's all these different like sort of magic mirrors to view the world through, and sort of like you're saying in Pentiment, where there's that element of like the time passing and looking back and all that. In this, it's like that but turned up to 11 because you've got like eons basically between the stories that happen in this game and the world you're in at the moment. So yeah, I like a lot of it. I think they trimmed up a lot of the fat in the game. There's still like a lot of open worldy quests, but nowhere near as they're much more interesting than the first game. One of my favorites was a very Breath of the Wild style. Where was this photograph taken kind of thing, which was right down my alley. There's a great one about signals that are on a radio station. There's just like a lot of things to do. And then I mentioned already a couple of weeks ago on our initial podcast about the character quests. They're sort of like Mass Effect 2-esque, where you're sort of doing individual quests for your buddies on your team, because you're literally like building a base and a team and all this sort of stuff in the game. And all of those are very well written. And my favorite being the one with the I think he's Tunic guy you meet who loses an arm mid battle, and his sort of like there's a mission to recover or get a prosthesis basically for him, so he can have that where his arm once was, and just the revelation of having that and how he relates to that and all that stuff was super fascinating. So I just loved it. I thought the ending was a little messy, to be honest. I think the ending was a bit weird, and had a real like sort of the Two Towers sort of I'm talking Lord of the Rings, not 9/11 sort of feels
Every episode.
every episode where it was kind of like, oh, we gotta say that there's some shit coming to finish the trilogy here, but yeah, aside from that, I just absolutely loved it. Swimming around underwater in San Francisco was a good time, and going to Alcatraz doing all that good shit. It's a fun old game. Jesse, your thoughts? Sorry, I've sort of like talked about everything, but
I feel
what
like I've
about
said my piece at the in the first episode of this quadrilogy of podcast episodes, but I think if I were to expand on something, Horizon Zero Dawn, the technological aspects of that, I think, are the sci-fi story aspects of that are the parts that I ended up liking the most. I did not particularly enjoy all of the tribe stuff in Zero Dawn. It didn't really grab me. Every time I was doing it, I was like, there's a significantly more interesting story, like right over here, like right over there.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a bummer, but that was it for me. Forbidden West solves that problem completely. I just can't get into it because I think I'm burnt out on open world games in general. I mean, I didn't like Elden Ring. What's wrong with me? But like Horizon Forbidden West has the tribes where they're doing interesting things. They have these amazing deep lore, like just things going on. The environment design is so perfectly crafted. There's so much to do as well in this open world. Like there's so many things that feels so much variety. Like there's races that you can randomly run into, like literally you can jump on the back of stuff and just do a race. Have you ever been in a race before? That's what it is. You go to the end of the track. It's amazing. It's so much fun. And I think the thing that makes me want to keep coming back to it is the sci-fi story in this one is like they cranked it up to 11. I was like, I don't know. I was like, how do you top? Because that's why I was surprised you hadn't played Zero Dawn, Jeremy, because the sci-fi story in that, if you listen to all the audio logs, it is like supremely impactful. It just blew my mind, that first game. And then this one is like, hey, is I don't even want to say it because like it's just such a cool reveal. One of the big cutscene moments that happens when Aloy goes into a room to get. I'm trying to tell you, Danny, without like spoiling.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't. If it's not impacting how good the game is, we can go over it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's part of my enjoyment of it, but I don't think it's the thing that it'll win an award for. So I will skip over that. But essentially, yes, I think the tribes in Horizon Forbidden West are just so much better done. The environments are way better. The enemy variety is way better. You're right to say that it is just Zero Dawn cranked up to 11 and just completely polished to a mirror sheen in every aspect of its design. It is a beautifully made game, and I can't wait to play it eventually in 3 years and finish it, and then maybe play the new one when it's out.
How far did you get, out of interest?
So there's a point.
Did you ever get to the West Coast?
All the way? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's
cool.
There's a point where they like tell you there's 4 quests you got to go do. Go do the 4 quests. I have done 2 of those.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're probably like half maybe of the way through it.
That makes sense.
There's a lot of meat on this bone. Yeah. And more characters to meet as well. And there's a whole tribe you wouldn't have met yet, which is really interesting, which are kind of like I think they might be like, I think they're from, I don't actually, I won't even say, but they're, yeah, there's loads to see and do. Have you been to the Vegas part at all? Any of that sort of stuff
I think I saw it on like the horizon, and nice. I stopped playing after that, unfortunately. But
awesome.
It looked cool.
I think it's we're sort of in a way coming down to the games that are like we really enjoyed, but maybe are not as like special sunflowers as some of the other ones that we had. But I absolutely loved it, performance wise as well. It just looks unbelievable on PlayStation 5. That first game looked great on PS4. It was kind of like, what type of technological voodoo are they doing over at Guerrilla to be able to pull this stuff off? And obviously, once they got their hands on the new tech, it was sort of I don't know, they're away to the races on it. So yeah, it just looks great, performance great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a super good game. And yeah, I feel like it's interesting. I wonder if they'll do a re-release. Did they say they were going to do something like?
Yeah, they're doing like a remaster, remake of Zero Dawn.
Yeah. That it in a way makes sense, because if it's on the Decima engine and they managed to make it look good on 5, then I feel like that's a pretty neat. That might be the way to play it, Jeremy. You can jump into 80 hours of the life and times of Aloy. Let's move on to our final game, shall we? Does that make sense? Yeah. God of War Ragnarok. Jesse, I sort of stole a lot of Forbidden West. Tell me what it is about Ragnarok. That, because you were mostly the person I think pushing this one.
Yes, I think I'm the only one that finished it, right?
I still have not. I'm like 75% of the way.
Right. I played probably a little over 4 hours, not quite 5.
And Frank,
I'm like 6 to 8 hours into it, but I'm loving it, and like this is my like the game I'm actually playing right now, and so I'm really liking it.
Nice. Okay, don't tell you the ending then. Gotcha. There's so God of War Ragnarok is the sequel to God of War 2018. So it is God of War 2, but not the first one. Crazy. It is. God of War 2018 was a real shocker to me because I didn't think they were going to do anything with God of War after Ascension. Like after 3, that felt like a conclusion, like not a period, but like a where do you go from here? Like an ellipses of like, how do you continue that story? And they kind of just took it and presented a story that I think takes what God of War, the original trilogy and the PSP games were doing, and I don't want to say corrects, because I think those games on their own are amazing, but then God of War 2018 comes in and says, these stories, what does that do to somebody? What does being an insane god-murdering, demigod, what does that do to somebody? And they made a story about that. And like, how does that person be a dad? And it's like very much the dadification of games. It's like, game dad developers. It's a thing in the industry. And I think they did a good job of it in 2018. I loved it. I think the progression of that story is amazing. I think the storytelling is great. I think the performances are awesome. I think the combat is great. Like everything about God of War 2018 feels amazing. And the Leviathan axe is kind of like the cherry on top of everything. If that wasn't there, I think that game still would have been amazing. But the fact that there's an axe that you can throw and then call back to you like it's Thor's hammer, beautiful. Perfect. 10 out of 10. No complaints. And then God of War Ragnarok comes out. And I see the trailers and I'm like, okay, I'm all in. I want to see where this goes. And I beat it in like 5 days or something. It was crazy. I can't believe how quickly I beat that game, because it's like 36 hours long to get to the end if you do all the side content. God of War Ragnarok, the thing is though, I don't, if we're trimming this, if we have to trim this, I would take this game off the list. I think it's an amazing game. I think I loved it very much. The combat is really good. They evolved the combat. Like there's a lot of opportunities to use elevation in combat a lot more. Verticality becomes a bigger part of the play. You can do AoE attacks. It's really cool. You have grappling hook chains. It's awesome. There's a lot more like upgrade stuff as well, which can be a little annoying because you have to keep going into the menu and you unlock this thing that you can like put charms into later. It's very messy. It's very messy. There's a lot of text on the screen in the menus.
I don't need it to be there.
No.
I don't know. I'm sure there are some people that want it to be there, but I do not need any of that shit.
When you spoke about it on the pod, you were like, why don't they just automatically do most of this? And I agree.
Yeah, or like I assume that there are people who will like that because like we all play games differently.
Yeah.
I just wish that there was a way that I could automate it for myself. I could just be like, you do.
There is like an auto quit button. But
Well, I've just recently found out that there is a turn the damage off in Tunic, so who knows? Maybe I've just not been poking around the settings enough in these games.
Good point. But the thing that I liked Ragnarok the most for was its story. And I think it's a very, like, specifically personal thing, but also just, like, obviously not because it won a Game Award, so it's not like... And it's a universal experience. But, like, God of War, the original trilogy, ends up being this story about a guy who killed his wife and daughter out of rage because the God of War made him just go sicko mode, you know? And then he has to move on and try to get his revenge. And then God of War 2018 is like, you know, how do you live after you get the revenge? What is life like after you've gotten revenge? What is, you know... How do you reconcile yourself with that? What do you do when you don't have a battle to fight? And it was kind of pulling back the layers of Kratos. This one is like, okay, you've established a relationship with your son. You've figured out who you are. You found your place in this world. Now what do you do? And the answer to that question is so beautifully done. I thought maybe I didn't actually like the story that much because, like, you know, I didn't feel too much other than the very last moment, which was amazing. And if you have to get the actual credits. If you play this game and you beat it and you don't get the black screen credits, I'm going to hunt you down. But like I watched a cutscene again yesterday from near the end of the game, and it was just the story of God of War is like this story about a guy who I always get a little concerned about, of like, can you be a good dad? You know, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a good father? I didn't grow up with one. Like, my dad passed away when I was really young. So I don't have that like frame of reference of like, what is a good dad? I have good male role models, but on a day-to-day basis, I never really knew what that was like. And Kratos got to do a little bit of that. If you played God of War, Chains of Olympus, you see him talking to Calliope and like trying to not leave her and stuff, and it's really sad. But God of War 2018 was damn, like, how do you be a good dad? And this one is like, sometimes all you got to do is try. All you got to do is make sure that they're safe and you're doing your best, and like just the way it plays out is so it's so affecting, man. And if you watch Raising Kratos,
is there like is there like a single parent element to that as well? Because obviously there's a lot of him dealing with the loss of his spouse as well.
I think that's part of it too, is I see my mom a lot in Kratos in moments, and like how he has to be a hard ass even though you can see he wants to love Atreus. So I see a lot of like personal reflection in God of War 2018 and in Ragnarok, especially as you get closer to the end. And then Atreus' story is also the same kind of like reflection of like, you know, you don't have your parent anymore. Like, you know, how do you deal with only having the one and not knowing everything? And he has so many questions. He has so many questions about his mom that he'll never get answered. And he can see glimpses and pieces, you know, bits and pieces. He can go and visit, like I could go to the Dominican Republic and I could learn like where my dad lived. And Atreus does that. He goes to Jotunheim and like sees what's going on with his mom, or where she was. And like all of that stuff is really cool. And I just could feel so much of myself and my family in 2018, and then even more so in Ragnarok, and like defining yourself. That's kind of Atreus's big thing for this one, is figuring out who Atreus is, and not trying to define himself just by who his dad is and who his mom was. And yeah, it's really good.
Sounds like it's hitting a lot of personal notes
for sure.
that you can see it like clearly. And like you said, it is like presumably, I imagine it's probably doing that for a lot of different people. It's interesting because like my focus, because I can't empathize with that plight myself, was on kind of what you were talking about during our first episode back 4 days ago, which was the really strong supporting cast as well that's in this game. Like, and I think you talked about the little hamster.
Yeah, Ratatasker, yeah.
Whatever that guy is. I really like, I don't want to spoil it, there is a character in the game who is a sort of Norse kind of equivalent of Kratos almost, or I guess he's like I don't know, but he's kind of done fighting, and his sort of struggle throughout is really fascinating. I found him to be a an interesting mirror or foil to the other two. And Atreus is like boundless optimism about everything, just sneaking out to go explore to try and find out about his past and his mother's past, and they do a great job of like teenage mischief in this game.
Oh, totally.
In a weird
so
way.
much of that. Yeah. There's another character that Atreus meets a little later on who just like they're having fun adventures for like an hour and a half of the game. It is so cute. And you know what? From like not a personal perspective, if I could pull away from my own enjoyment of the game, I think God of War Ragnarok also just nails a lot of things really, really well. Like God of War 2018 has the single shot camera thing. I think in this one, it even more so. It's like, come on, really? There's some transitions in the second half of God of War Ragnarok where I was like, okay, settle down. Like,
showing off.
Not even showing off. It was more like, this is a little. Once you get to the narrative beat, you'll be like, oh, okay, I know what part he's talking about. But there are some transitions where you're like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. Like, I know you had to get between, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the game is good. There are good parts. Like, apart from all the bits where I'm getting all emotional watching the cutscenes and seeing these performances, I'm also beating the shit out of enemies with a giant axe and like performing all these runic attacks and throwing my axe and it's like freezing enemies, and then I run up and punch them against the wall and they explode into beautiful frozen chunks. It's gorgeous. And then again, you transition and you're I can't remember her name. I'm so bad with names. The woman from the first game that you meet,
Witchy lady.
Yeah, Witchy lady. Let's just call her Witchy.
I always forget her name.
Yeah,
I always forget
so
her name.
bad.
Her performance is
She's
terrific,
amazing.
though. She's
so good.
Yeah.
Is it Freya?
Thank you.
Freya.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Freya. She has a lot of interesting things.
I think the cathedral is trying to owns the land, right? Because her husband died, and they're trying to kick her out. Sorry.
Wrong game.
Wrong game.
God damn. She has a lot of cool things going on. Her story is very interesting, based on the conclusion of God of War 2018 and the way they continue that. In the same way that 2018.
God, it comes out swinging.
It really does. It starts
like
hot.
the game is like fucking. We're going.
Yeah, no, there's no brakes on this train. And I think that's a good juxtaposition in the story between Ragnarok and 2018. Because 2018 makes a meal out of so much. Like, everything is like, this is going to be a 30-second long chorus song, and then you're going to see Kratos take one step forward, and then the cutscene will end. Like, they made a meal out of everything in 2018. And that's fine. I liked that. But God of War Ragnarok is like, here you go. We're right in it, baby. We're right in it, and it's over. And, like, all the edges are sanded off from the cutscene to the gameplay. Everything is so smooth. You get to the end of a sequence and they give you everything you need to very quickly get back to where you were if you like go off the beaten path. There's very little in your way a lot of the time. Even at the end of the game, when you have all these really cool items and all these extra things that you get for completing it, there's extra stuff to do, and they're like, hey, go do this stuff, and you're like, I don't want to go back. That's a lot of walking. But you get there and they're like, here you go. You can just quickly get back to where you want to go. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. Because it could have not done that. It could have been really annoying to get
I was
around
wondering how they'd handle that. Because, there's a bunch of places that I was like, oh, there's a thing I definitely need to. This is like a Metroidvania situation here. I need to come back
Exactly.
here.
There's wind coming out of that hole. What's that about? Why is that happening?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so much.
Those wind holes.
I love a good wind hole.
Best wind holes.
Yeah, there we go.
Put it
That's
down
the award,
here.
yeah.
That's the award.
Any other thoughts on Ragnarok, folks?
I will say I appreciate, between all the violence and combat, I really appreciate how gentle the game is in between everything. Like, when you're just on that boat and rowing in the water and hearing all the nature sounds, the environmental details, like seeing little lizards crawl on the rocks, and even I don't know what you call sea decay, moss or whatever, but you see the sea taking over the rocks and just stuff growing on things. Like, it's such a beautiful world that there is this beautiful I saw Avatar last night, which is why I'm so behind all the games. But there is something nice about even if it's digital, seeing nature, seeing blue, seeing all of that, and it's tranquil, and so it's so fun. You're with Atreus and the head I forget his name.
Mimir,
Mimir, and it's just these little conversations, and it's just I don't know, it's just I don't know, it sounds weird, but it's reassuring for mental health, just having positive voices and dialogue. You can also feel the love of the team behind making this game is they're really giving it all and making a really fun, deep, profound experience, and just the game gameplay feels so satisfying. The combat, throwing the axe, snapping it back, looking around the environment, trying to figure out the puzzles and collectibles, and like everything is delicious to this game. It's just very satisfying to play, but also just sit and be in that world. It's so like, yeah, last night, I don't know, like 1 a.m. I was like, I'm still playing this game. It feels so nice, and just being in, so.
Yeah, high production quality for sure. Like just, great graphics, the type of thing you'd expect from a AAA game with a, whatever, 500 people behind it. But yeah, all that stuff like the Leviathan axe, like throwing puzzles that they have back in the crystal place, the elven place, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of that. Sorry, Jeremy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no. So I was just going to say, this game didn't really connect with me. I don't think it's for me, but the one thing that I really appreciated about it is that I'm one of those people who is, I would rather like see the future of games focus less on insane graphical fidelity, because I would just like I'm into games that are made by fewer people with a more precise vision that just like go for it and don't need all of the bells and whistles, or more focused on like I like low poly games, I like indie games and stuff. But the one thing that this game really made me, it kind of like made click for me, is that the one thing about fidelity and like increases in technology that I think is really, really important for the future of games is that it's like, it's not just about looking good, it is about capturing human performances for characters. I think some of the acting in this game is really, really profoundly good.
Yes.
And I haven't completed Death Stranding. I've only kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but Death Stranding has similar things where like motion capture of not, because when you think of mocap, you think of like waving your arms around and stuff, but very
performance capture.
Thank you. Of just like the dimples in someone's faces when like something hits them. Those really subtle things, the things that you can do in movies that you can't do in theater, because you can get so close with the camera. I think those things are they're profoundly human, and I think that I played 4 or 5 hours of it, so I haven't seen the whole game or whatever, but some of the performances in this game feel like the acting shines through so hard in the performance capture.
So you would have seen the Thor stuff, or sorry, you would have seen that stuff. I think that's a good opening scene that sort of demonstrates a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought Thor and Kratos were the two characters that stood out. The performances of the other characters didn't super connect with me, but Thor and Kratos specifically were like, I thought there was some incredible acting on display with those two.
You know what? You make a really good point. It's something I hadn't even considered, but we've been watching The Sopranos. We just finished The Sopranos. And something I noticed while watching it is like Tony Soprano's face movements, subtle things in his face are like tell you everything about what he's doing. James Gandolfini, fantastic actor.
Acting.
Rest in peace. Yes, of course. But it's these subtle little things. Like everything I watch, I feel like there's way more things. He has these tiny little twitches of the sides of his mouth, the corners of his mouth, that can tell you so much based on the seasons that you've watched. God of War Ragnarok, Kratos does not talk very much. He never did in the 2018 and in this one. But Chris Judge, I was like, why did he win? It should have been Man Engaged, but now that I'm thinking about it,
should have been Man Engaged.
So here's the thing, though. The end of there's a lot of moments with Kratos leading up to the end of that game where he doesn't say a word for 20 minutes, but you know everything running around in his noggin. It's
it's the fidelity we can get now, basically, where you're able to capture what actors have been doing on screen and in films. That way, I should also mention, just because you reminded me, in Horizon there is a marked improvement in that too over the first game. Yeah, because the first game was a bit like, fucking blessings of Stendar upon you.
Oh man, they got fucking real Fallout face in that game.
Yeah, there was a bit of Fallout face going on there, and like the 3 different camera angles they cut back. They automated the whole thing. There's a lot more of that in Forbidden West. But anyway, we've talked about that. Ragnarok, some good old performances. Best wind holes though.
Totally, I think that's a good award for that one. Yeah. Best nosy bitch, best wind
I should
holes.
check all the other wind holes. Do any of the other ones have good wind holes? Is there a wind hole in Vampire Survivors?
Probably. Yeah.
It's been a while. Those are our games, everyone. Congratulations. Those are our games. Before we go to give some of these awards out, how are we feeling? We don't need to do it, but I'm just saying, is there a world in which we got this down to a 10? I think we get it down to an 11 pretty quick. Yeah. I think the 10th is the hardest. I think we could easily go back to what we had before, which was we each have a sort of game that was important to us that maybe isn't in the 10. For Frank, that's Call of Duty.
What do you mean?
For me, that's Horizon. For Jesse, it's God of War Ragnarok. The issue I think we run into is that Jeremy's games are all dope. So I don't know which one. And I don't know what other game we could cut to get it down to a 10. What would it be? It would probably be Monkey Island, actually.
But then you lose
think
2. That sucks.
But then I lose
that
too.
sucks.
But
Yeah.
but
we are
also-
making like this is like a collective decision.
Yeah.
My investment in keeping some of the games that I care about on this list is less like me having my voice in this, and more so that I think that us as a collective are trying to make decisions about which games are important and meaningful and will be like influential and remembered and whatever.
to us or just in general.
Well, I
Frank?
mean, I this is kind of it's a weird kind of blur of the two. I think that this game list is very personal to all of us, but I think that I mean, I guess it's just a personal list. It's more to us, I guess.
Because there would be, am I just being arbitrary? Because it's funny. Like, to me, when I look at those games, they do feel separate. You know what I mean? Like, I want to acknowledge them and celebrate them, but they do feel a little bit like COD, Horizon, and God of War. We all really like, but maybe it's just because they're known quantities in many ways. There are lots of the games we've played here are well, I guess Elden Ring also is, but like a lot of the games aren't so sequely or you know, I'm not quite sure what the delineation is. Am I crazy? Is there a need? There's something about having 10 games as well that feels purer than
More punchy.
you know. But then I also don't want to take these games out. I'd like to acknowledge them in some way. But what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I get the appeal of having a nice round 10. Let me pull up the list here. This is going to be tough.
I mean, other sites have 20s and stuff. How about we just, we could just have our 10. We have 14, but everyone knows what 11 to 14 was. How about that? How about it's like, we've got Monkey, we've got Call of Duty, we've got Horizon, we've got God of War, and then we have the 10 are together.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Is that, yeah. I think because everyone kind of knows the games that like you could even tell how much we talked about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talked about Immortality for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we finished Immortality at the last pod, I was like, holy shit, we've gone for almost an hour and we're on the first game.
No, I don't think this one's going to be a 3-hour podcast so much. Okay. That feels good. Let's do that.
Okay.
Jesse's camera's out.
Yes.
Do you want to try disconnect, reconnect?
Oh no, I know it's good. It's just overheating. So.
Oh, is that
it's
what
so
it is?
warm in
Okay,
here now.
cool.
We have the
So we
heat
just
on
lost
this
you for a little while?
Yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Hey,
warm.
Yay.
He's back.
Hey now.
It's warm in Canada.
Just in this
December.
room. I'm in the attic, baby. The heat's coming up.
Okay.
Hell
I
yeah.
love it. All right, we're on a ticking clock here then. We got Jesse back, his beautiful visage, and we can continue our awards. We have to get some awards today. Okay,
Let's do it.
So we have Tunic, Pentiment, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Horizon Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I think that we can knock this one out. We could just call it like, I don't know, like best shooting.
Well,
Frank's got an award.
for me, it's like, I don't know if this is the term for it, but for me, the award would be best gaming with the homies.
Okay.
'Cause that is 10,000%. Like, that's what that game, like, it is like, it could also be the multiplayer award, but it really is like, that is the homie game. That's the game to play with the homies. Like, I don't know.
I love
Yeah,
That feels
so-
appropriate, because I was
yeah.
going to say, I was trying to think of a non-gendered way to say gaming with the boys, because I've like playing some duty with the boys.
Playing
is
some
what-
duty with the boys.
Homies.
Yikes.
Duty.
Love playing duty.
Duty with the, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Playing duty with the homies. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a fucking TikTok. I don't know where it's from yesterday where some like gang guy goes up to some other guy and goes, "Yo, where the fuck are you from?" And the guy goes, "Earth." He goes, "Earth." The fuck? And it like totally fucks with the gang guy. And he's like, "I'm in a gang. Don't come at me with that Earth shit." I was like, that's such a good fucking response to that.
That's awesome.
Somebody comes up and says, where the fuck are you from? Earth. It's a unifier. You know, we're all
Yeah.
the same, man. We're fucking Earth.
Hell yeah.
Such a good response. Guy was so fucking frazzled. Best gaming with the homies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels
it.
like natural, yeah.
Yeah. That feels good.
It's organic.
Let's try and do the same then with the other two. Horizon Forbidden West. What is it about Horizon best road trip.
Road
that's
trips.
good.
Yeah, road trip. Yeah.
To me, the thing about that game is just like seeing all the places, meeting all the people, like tasting all the foods, like exploring, like seeing what's over the horizon.
Yeah.
No pun intended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that's the thing that like drives me forward. Is like just like it's not that dissimilar from Elden Ring is the issue though, because we have like. That's all about the wonder and shit.
This might be a good time to propose an alternate Elden Ring award that popped into my head last night.
Oh, shit.
It's a little wordy. I'm going to warn you up front.
It's more wordy than Boundless Wonder Award.
It's more wordy. It's the Shigeru Miyamoto Childlike Wonder Award.
Ooh.
Because
do we Miyamoto, I feel like, is an unnecessary element in this.
The reason that there is a Miyamoto reference is that his inspiration for Zelda was exploring like rural Japan in his childhood and going and seeing like caves and lakes and rivers and whatever. And I feel like Elden Ring is a video game version of, because that's what I did as a kid, was just like we had this marsh in my backyard and we would just go wander out there for miles and see beaver dams and walk on the ice. I almost died one time. It's a good childhood on the whole.
But then see, you also had it. It wasn't just Miyamoto. It's universal.
That's true. I guess I'm connecting it to
I'm trying to do like a legacy thing. Like if we gave the War Inspector Award to Weird West or something. Right?
The War Inspector Deepest Pond Award.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. Something about childlike wonder, though.
Childlike wonder. Is it?
I don't know.
Childlike?
It's not childlike in the themes
That's
or
the
presentation.
problem.
Yeah, okay.
But you're right. But it's definitely better than Boundless Wonder. It's definitely on a much better track.
It's got heart.
Yeah, childlike wonder. Yeah, it is. It's like
The Babe in the Woods Award.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
like something
Babe
about
in the
like
spooky woods. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let's come back to So if that was the case, then is Horizon. Horizon is like it's like good vibes road trip or something. You know, it's just like it's like a happy. It's like summer of '66. You know what I mean? It's not like a difficult road trip. It's like fun.
Wait, what if you gave it the Friends We Made Along the
easygoing.
Way award?
That's pretty good. I like
It's all
that.
about the side
There's
characters,
also-
right?
My
The side characters are definitely a part of it. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're that much of a focus though.
There's like the Wanderlust Award or something, because that also
Oh, yeah.
evokes like the spirit of travels. The Wanderlust Award.
That's good.
The only problem with Wanderlust is that it comes from a place of not traveling. It's the feeling of wanting to travel.
Oh,
It's not
yes.
Wanderlust. It's not. It's
But
not.
does also the game inspire you to also want to travel in real life? I don't know. But yeah.
All right, maybe not as easy as we thought. God of War Ragnarok. What do we
dad.
like about that game?
Best Dad
Best
Award.
Dad Award.
Father of the Year.
Yes, give it Father of the Year.
Is he though? Is he though?
No, he is,
know.
man.
I haven't beat the
when
game.
you beat
Okay,
that
I haven't beat the game.
Man, there's a side quest that you
All
do with
right.
Atreus where you free
All
a
right,
creature.
that's
That's
what-
it. That's all I'll say. It's
okay.
beautiful. Father of the Year Award. He's a
Father
good
of
dad.
the Year.
Father
What
of
else
the
we-
Year.
What else we got?
He only killed one kid. He can't be that bad.
That's it. I loved that you said he went sicko mode and killed his wife and kid.
That's
because
what it
is. I was picturing like him explaining his backstory to people, and they're like, "Man, why are you so fucked up?" And he's like, "I went sicko mode on my
sicko
wife and
mode.
kid one time."
You ever heard Travis
it's just
Scott?
Like, it's profaning such a serious. It just cracked me up. Oh man.
I really like Father of the Year. I think that's really funny.
I think I like Father of the Year has Best Picture
Yeah, it does.
vibes.
Yeah.
It's cute. I do like it.
Father of the Year award. I was thinking about Best Picture, and if you call this one like Best Animated Picture or something.
Best Marvel movie video
like-
game.
Yeah.
It did feel like a
It
Marvel
absolutely
movie. As I was
100%
playing.
is.
I was shocked how accurate
Yeah.
that was after you said
Like
that.
to a T. That game is.
I mean,
a
it's
Marvel
literally got superhero, Thor's in it.
Okay, here's a question that has nothing to do with anything. Does in Norse mythology, does Thor's hammer fly back to his hand, or is that a Marvel thing that they incorporated into this game?
Huh. That's a good question.
Does he throw his hammer? I mean, nobody here knows that, but to the listeners, just drop us a line.
Yeah, let us know. I bet Norse mythology is way less specific.
Yeah. No,
about,
I'm just
like,
saying.
the
I wonder where.
powers that they have.
I
you
just
know?
wonder where that started, because a lot of mythology does talk about like he shot
Sure, it was it a
lightning bolts
Yeah,
it's gotta be a
out of
Neil
his
Gaiman thing or
eyes.
something, right?
It's comic books, probably.
Yeah, I was just wondering who
I bet
first
it's
did
comic
that.
books.
Yeah, I bet it is too.
Who knows? Though?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Lost my video now. It's all falling apart here, folks.
Oh.
No, I'm frozen.
Oh, bummer.
All right. Okay. I'm going to have to replug this in. Talk amongst yourself about God of War. Do you think best dad?
I like Father of the
Father-
Year. That's funny.
Yeah.
Father of the Year is
And,
pretty
like,
funny.
I'm also trying to think of. Oh yeah. keep
Well,
going,
just the
Jesse.
cut. Like again, I can't say anything about the story because everything that happens after the first 3 hours is like I didn't think that was going to happen. There are so many moments where Kratos like just does something because he loves Atreus. He doesn't do it because he like wanted to get an item. He's done. He has finished his quest, and that's the thing that like. Now his quest is to figure out how to be a good dad, how to raise his son and have him be safe. That's what Ragnarok's story at its core ends up being about, and other things happen around that. It's just Kratos doing literally everything in his power to save his son, doing things he doesn't want to do if it helps his son. And like, I don't know, man.
Okay, Father of the Year then? Is that what we're saying? The only problem I have with Father of the Year is it's a little bit like trite. You know what I mean?
yeah. It is a little obvious.
It's like, haha, you know.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Lol. That's the game.
Lol.
The
It's
game's a
definitely a
little obvious.
lol
Haha.
word.
It's a bit lol.
Yeah. It's a tough one. We could put a pin in that one and kind of
Put a
bounce off
pin
it
in
for
it.
a second.
We'll come back. Okay. Tunic.
It's got to be something about mystery, right, Jesse?
Yes.
Yeah.
From my void.
Rediscovering Mystery Award.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
no clip specific as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Exactly.
that could also be something that is reused in future years, and that it truly is a
Right.
badge of
Oh,
honor.
I
the
like that.
Rediscovering
Yeah.
Mystery Award is like we know what that means. I also did like the term Golden Path. There's also like handcrafted the manual. We'd be cute with that. But Rediscovering Mystery Award is like a tried and true Noclip
Yeah, it's a
thing.
Noclip trademark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
it's like that game is the mystery is the charm and surprise of the game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that work? I didn't. I wasn't even thinking when I said it that it would work, but I guess it does kind of encapsulate what Jesse's talking about with the late game stuff as well, where it's continuously that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
that one feels like it's obvious, but it's like good and clean and clever. You know what I mean? Like feels like I like the idea of doing that. If there's a clear winner for it every year or two, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. We'll stick
do
that
it.
in. Jesse, does it feel like that's the case for the late game stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
It applies.
Yeah, it even applies to like in retrospect because you're rediscovering stuff in the world that you forgot about. So it works for the
right.
game itself.
Layers.
Even
like a
better.
tiramisu.
Layers. The onion one. Oh God, I haven't had a tiramisu in a while.
so good.
Just get a tiramisu. Pentiment, Nosy Bitch Award. Jeremy.
No,
just give it the
no,
Nosy
it
Bitch Award.
can't
It's
be.
It's a good name.
Hey,
It
it's up to
can't
you.
be.
It's get Nosy Bitch unless you can come up with something better.
Oh, that's so much fucking pressure.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know. I need help on this. It's like it's I feel like the obvious way to go with it is that it's something about history and capturing history and like the making best history class or the making history interesting award. But I feel like that's skipping over the fact that this game is so profoundly human. Like this is a game about characters that feel human. Their plight feels meaningful. When characters like die or bad things happen to them, it gut punches you. It's
History and humanity, or
it's something about humanity is good. Like just most humanity. No,
best humanity.
best humanity. It's like the like making me feel things award.
That's every game on here.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
It's
tough.
such a tough one to capture this into like a pithy little line because
There's so
you
many
know what I mean?
individual
Like, I
good
wanna-
things about it, right? Like
I
the
know.
history is good, the storytelling's good, the choices are good, the art's good, like the writing. Yeah.
Is there does the word tapestry
Yes.
sort of
Yeah.
mean like a broad amount of things?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Like,
the
if you could use
tapestry
that
of
in some way.
humanity or
Award.
like
Yeah.
the,
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. I like Tapestry though because it captures also kind of like the physicality of the art style, and this game is also all about art and like the nature of art, the importance of art, and also kind of how like the title Pentiment is about like a painting that's underneath another painting, and this whole game is kind of about like the layers of history and stuff and how things build upon each other, and so it's like the
Humanity
layer,
tapestry.
layers of humanity,
That's Human Tapestry Award.
That sounds like
a
you're
little
like
bit
taking
it's made of
flesh and like
flesh.
sewing it together.
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Leatherface
dark.
thing. Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
fucking book in Evil Dead or something.
Yeah, the Necronomicon
Yeah.
award.
Yeah. Okay, let's hold that. We're making
stuff.
good stuff. We're making good stuff there. We're also gonna spin out. Okay, we're gonna spin out into the wider world because there are other ones that we have to get new names for. Elden Ring, Return to Monkey Island, and Neon White are the other
Okay.
ones.
Before we move
So-
on from Pentiment, the other obvious one, if we don't want to focus on the tapestry of humanity, is the best history mystery. But it feels a little too cutesy for how profound the game is.
Yeah, it does kind of.
Just
Sounds
a
like a
rediscovering
Scooby-Doo
mystery.
video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
The History Mystery and the Rediscovering Mystery Awards.
Greg, you're
Very
getting
different
involved in
awards.
the occult.
Rediscovering History Mystery. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's bounce up to Return to Monkey Island. Let's just get that one out of the way. I feel like it's almost causing more trouble than it's worth at this stage for the amount of for what we know is kind of the thing. So Revelance123 said once in a lifetime finale, and I have warmed to that quite a lot. But I do also think that that it's that the finale aspect of it is maybe something that is more for me than it is for every player. So maybe like once in a lifetime comeback or something, or impossible comeback was the one I think I thought of on the way. Improbable comeback, maybe actually.
I like impossible comeback or improbable comeback.
Yeah,
I like improbable.
simple.
What is there a term like that, like return to form or something that's like a synonym that's like something like that? That's like a bit like maybe I'm just getting too much in the weeds or something. Yeah, improbable comeback. I think that's.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Or is there anything else improbable?
I feel like the only argument I would make for impossible comeback is that improbable comeback feels less less praise. Impossible comeback feels like it's hyperbolic in a way where it's like,
You're right.
this is like an impossible. Improbable is like, oh, I didn't think they could do it, but I mean they did.
Yeah.
You're right, and we're talking about the dartboard, right? Like it's all
Yeah.
about just how like crazy it is that they managed to pull this off, and especially given the amount of time that was there. Yeah, I'm just looking at other words. Impossible, irrational comeback. Implausible comeback. Yeah, again, it doesn't. You're right. It's the hyperbole of impossible. That's sort of unimaginable. Yeah, okay, I like that. Impossible comeback award. The impossible. Yeah,
That feels good.
Yeah.
impossible comeback. Cool. Okay, thank you very much. Neon White. I'm actually not going to tell you the words we had for that,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
just for a
that's
second.
probably for the best.
Yeah, because I'll put us back on the same track.
Can we just give it the Speed
High speed
Demon Award?
sickness.
Can we just do that?
Oh, Speed Demon.
God, that's
Demon is
fucking
good too. 'cause-
Where did that
yeah.
come out of?
I just
Yeah.
said it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just poured out of me. Because, like,
Yeah.
God, devil, speed, fast.
Speed.
Demon also kind of implies like the little like aggressive or combativeness of just trying to nail it. Like you
Yeah.
turn into
Yeah.
a demon, you turn into
True.
a freak, like trying to get it. And like it is like I feel like even the vibe of the anime aesthetic of like it's demon, but it's like a cute. It's like not like
It's not a
satanic,
devil, it's a
just like,
demon.
oh, it's yeah.
True.
Speed Demon Award.
Speed Demon's
I don't
good. I like that.
Yeah. Is there any flavor we can add to it?
I was thinking about Speed Freak, but that sounds a little like, I don't
Sounds
know.
like you do methamphetamine.
Yeah, exactly.
speed.
I know a few speed freaks.
know. Speed Freak.
Because it is
Behind
a
the Home
speed,
Depot,
like
right?
speed
Yeah.
running demon is maybe a bit on the nose. Speed. It kind of takes the speed demon. Speed demon's really good. Speed demon.
Speed Demon's so punchy. It's hard to.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets overburdened by the addition of anything. But I hear what you're saying. I wish we could add a little umami to that.
Yeah, because it's a bit like well, that's what the game is. Sure, it's about running.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
You
feel
know,
like as laudatory as it could or something.
But
Yes.
there's a lot of games about going fast, though, so it's like a general award. You can
Like
give
Sonic.
to anything. Doesn't overspecify it.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I think what Jeremy's saying is that it doesn't like praise it enough or something.
Yeah,
you know what I
get
mean?
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if a speed demon was a term of endearment or something, it would work. But because it's not necessarily, just means that you go fast. Like it is it's the best one we have so far by a fucking mile.
Yeah.
God, fucking anime Temple Run is still pretty good though.
That is pretty
What
good.
are the tiers within Neon White? There's like bronze, silver, gold. Is it platinum? What is like the high tier they award you when you
Ace? Yeah,
I think
because in the
that's
top
term
one is
they
the
use,
red ace. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of in-game terminology too. But- What do they use in Top Gun? What Maverick? No, I'm trying to think now of like other.
Give it the Need for Speed
Off the
award.
range. Yeah, exactly.
The Tom Cruise Impossible Mission Award.
I am very excited right now.
Dude, you're on Stunts Award.
Yeah.
Keyboard Stunt Award. No, wait,
Ooh.
there's something about keyboard stunts.
Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
like the vibe of that.
Yeah.
But we're trying to celebrate the part of the game that is the best, right? Like the reason
the
why it's the best
speed.
of what it does. And we were talking, it was like flow state and
Well,
like
the best
nailing
part
it.
of it is how, Frank, I think, captured it there of like the way you play it. It just kind of turns you into a freak. You turns you into a little demon, a little goblin trying to go fast.
Yeah.
Sick as.
It's true. It turns you into like a human fighter jet, just like a machine of
Ooh.
precision.
A human
yeah,
fighter jet.
precision or. But we need, it
The,
can't be
like-
that divorced
Yeah.
from it, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
then
it's
you
like
could be talking about any game.
laser focus, precision, speed,
Precision, min max,
min max. Yeah, the like.
the speed, the mastery. I think Jeremy said last week.
Yeah.
The mastery.
Is there something about going fast and precise at the same time? Is there something for that? Is there like a word for that?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific word for that.
All right, we're coming back to it. Fuck.
Shakespeare, so good at that.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Elden Ring. Childlike Wonder Award. Boundless Wonder Award.
Something about boundless I don't like.
Yeah. We're getting rid
Doesn't
of Boundless Wonder Award.
it doesn't excite me.
Grace, discovery, astonishment, awe, wonder, adventure.
Yeah.
Is
yeah,
this
I'm
the
trying to
best?
think of-
Is this like best fucked up road trip? Like best, like
It's less of a road trip though, and more of like it feels like because road trip has it has kind of like a modernity to it that I think fits Horizon much
Yeah,
better.
you're right, you're
or
right.
like a post modernity in that case. I feel like this is old world. This is like you're traveling on foot through like pilgrimage.
Oh,
What about pilgrimage?
yes.
Pilgrimage is good.
Yeah.
Another one that came to mind, which does not fit with Pilgrimage, which I think Pilgrimage is better, is Unraveling.
Oh,
It feels
alright.
like an unraveling wonder or something. You know, kind of like
Something
feels
about
like
the map expanding too, like
that's-
unraveling, like it's a thread
yeah.
map. Yeah.
like a lot of it, and even the map itself in the game, and also just the way in which the world operates and works is a very like, oh, there's more, there's more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the world is bigger than you can ever imagine. Yeah.
Pilgrimage is strong though, because it does
Yeah.
feel that there are religious undertones in this with grace and you know, and it is a journey to an end, on foot. You know what I mean? Well, you
Yeah.
know, horseback, whatever.
Yeah, you could be a pilgrim on horseback. Yeah, it's like the player's pilgrimage or like the, I'm trying to think of things about pilgrimage that don't involve Mecca that are not like specific to the real world.
And it has to be like an award, right? So it's like it's not best pilgrimage, but it's like longest pilgrimage,
There you go.
Longest.
most wondrous pilgrimage.
Yeah, or like it could be just pilgrim. It could just be the word we don't need pilgrimage.
Pilgrim.
It could be like pilgrim.
Yeah. Oh,
I've said pilgrim so many times it's lost all meaning.
pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage. Okay, we'll come back to it. Pilgrimage is a good place to start.
That's good progress.
Pentiment. Tapestry. Humanity.
Nosy bitch.
Nosy bitches.
I'm sorry to get back to Elden Ring, but
Okay.
what about like punishing pilgrimage or like pilgrimage, like something about punishing because it's alliterative. It's
But that's not, yeah, it's not bad, but it's not, the thing I'm trying to like drag us back towards all the time is these are not just leads on a review. They're not
It's
just
the thing
like
it does best.
It's the thing it does best. Yeah, it's an award.
Well, I feel like the punishing nature of those Souls games is part of the reason they are so rewarding, though. Is the
Correct, but it's not. But it's not an award. You know, you can't. Is it most punishing pilgrimage? Sweetest execution works because it is
sweetest.
We're talking about. No, it's the execute. It's the fact that it executes. Like it's the reason we gave it that was because it had Cult of the Lamb has a very like singular vision that it nails, and that's why it's sweetest execution. Best bang for your buck is because the game, obviously, is the vampire part, but the award is because you're getting so much game for the money.
Okay.
Impossible comeback is because of that. So like they have to point towards why this game, it's an award at the end of the day. So why
You're
it's
right.
getting
It has
an
to be a
award.
superlative. It can't
Yeah.
just be a descriptive.
I've set us up for a nightmare, and I'm very
Yeah, no, it's
sorry.
all good.
And you've all done amazing to be with me on this stupid shit. But
I'm trying to figure out, like, with like John Krakauer talks about, like, with Mount Everest, like, into thin air, there's something about like the treacherous journey of Elden Ring where it's like this game is gonna fuck you up, it's gonna challenge you, but you keep playing because you want to see the beauties it beholds and the journey of it, the strength you develop as you get into it. So I don't know if there's any analogy or headspace thinking about like mountain climbing.
Yeah, Everest is good. I actually do like Everest. It's because it is like
Yeah.
video game. Like the game is so vast, and also you're kind of spiraling upward.
Summit?
through
Yeah,
the
I was thinking
continent.
Summit. Yeah, because you reach the
Summit
top
is
of
good.
it.
Something
Yeah.
up- yeah.
Yeah.
Summit 1G's game of
There
the
we
year.
go. Giving awards for other people.
So
Okay.
I feel like we have a lot of descriptor words. We don't have the award. We have like pilgrimage, unraveling, summit, discovery, adventure, wonder. We have lots of like things that like feel good, but we don't have the thing. Like, what is it about Elden Ring? Is it the fact that it's just like you can't wait to see what's around the next corner kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
I wish there was a way to capture best adventure in the words that
Yeah.
we're using, because that's what it feels like.
It
to
might
me.
just be best adventure.
Best adventure. Yeah.
Like, and because to me I'm with you. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. But do we want to? Are we saying best adventure is basically the award we want to give, but we just need to like fucking put a little bit of Elden Ring
I
spice
think
on
that
top
works
of it?
if you just say best adventure, because everything else we have here is like almost specific, where best adventure typically is really generic. But here we are saying the adventure here is so good, nothing was better than it, rather than hey, this year this game had a lot of good adventure in it. Like, it's not a generic
Right.
seeming award like it usually feels like it is.
We do have best picture.
Yeah, but that's special. That's
Which
just
has
for
layers
Immortality.
to it,
Yeah,
fair.
exactly.
Yeah, that's got layers. That's got legs.
Best adventure.
If we just
So
get
is there
one-
another way to spin adventure slightly?
I feel like I keep thinking of like journey or pilgrimage, but I feel like adventure has a
Get the greatest
Adventure
pilgrimage.
Journey's not
Just
bad.
give it that.
adventure just has such a like it has a flavor to it. Like it has a
excitement.
there's like excitement and there's danger and there's intrigue. Adventure, I feel like, is the best word for what it is. Pilgrimage has a more somber tone to it, I feel like.
does.
But
Elden Ring's pretty
but I
somber.
do feel like it's fitting.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. I don't know.
I'm also thinking about like world history and world explorers and expeditions where people would journey into uncharted territory and come back with tall stories. And yeah, maybe that is best adventure, but I don't know if there's other terms for that.
Oh yeah, like myth or something about myth, like you're like creating a myth
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
'cause
I don't know, but I guess
Right.
We're
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
telling our stories about the game too. So like,
Yeah.
oh man,
the myth
Myths
maker
and
award.
legend.
dang it,
Yeah.
frig.
No, all right. There's like a word for what you're saying. Yeah, it's like a fable or something, right?
Yeah, like the
a-
like living a legend. Or like,
Legend. yeah,
yeah.
legend. Or yeah.
yeah,
It's just
like
we're getting a little bit off the range again. I feel like
It-
we have
yeah.
those words already though.
Okay. We
So-
can bounce off it for. I didn't mean to drag us back to Elden Ring. I just
How about instead of best adventure, it's like greatest adventure?
grandest.
Grow. That's good. Now we're
Yeah.
getting there. Yeah. Now we're getting into
Grand Adventure Award.
Yeah,
Grand Adventure.
grandest adventure. Yeah, grandest feels
Bombastic.
broad
Epic,
enough.
yeah.
grandest feels grand.
Yeah,
Grandest, you're right. Yeah.
grandest also means imposing, and yeah, and I think
Yeah.
grandest adventure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, is there any other adjective we can use there that feels like grace or something. You know what I mean? Like has like a little bit of Elden Ring spice in there.
Yeah, like mythical can't be used as there's no EST version of the mythicalist.
Grandiose.
Most grandiose.
Grandiose. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's we can.
I wouldn't be mad with that being it.
Yeah. Grandest adventure is pretty. That does, like, 5 years from now, if we go back and look at these awards, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Does it sum up the reason why we like these games? I feel like they're also like they're awards as much as they are like just special credits or something that, you know, something that gets written on the award. It's not, you know, it's just as a bit of flavor. Okay, that looks good. That feels good. Okay. Okay, do you want to, so we have day one done. Vampire Survivors is best bang for your buck. Thank you, Inkalot. Return to Monkey Island is impossible comeback. Elden Ring, grandest adventure. Cult of the Lamb, sweetest execution. Feels good.
Feels good.
Immortality, best picture. Citizen Sleeper, narrative Shishimi. Do you still feel good about that?
I like it.
I like
it's
narrative
fun.
sashimi.
Yeah. Signalis, survival horror Homecoming. Still feel good about that?
Yeah.
And Weird West is a cult classic, which is just
Love a good play on words.
delicious. We do not have Neon White for day 2.
Okay.
We have.
I think Speed Demon is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's the best boy we have by far.
Trying to get Godspeed in there. Godspeed, Precision, Godspeed.
Oh,
Speed
Godspeed.
running demon, speed. I feel like it's not an award, right? Speed demon. Is it an award? It's like saying it's the fastest game, I
Yeah.
guess.
The Speed
But
Demon
that's
Award?
reductive. It's
I don't know.
but
I wouldn't be insulted.
it's more it's saying that it's the thing that it does the best is speed.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily, it's precision is what we're talking about. Accuracy. It's not even the fastest game on here. I'm sure this game is faster than it.
I don't know,
Well,
man.
maybe not actually.
Now this made me feel
There's
bad.
a lot of
is not
slow
on the-
games.
Somebody didn't go
Bunch of
top
old
10
dudes.
global.
Velocity is another word for like high speed and performance. I don't know if velocity fits anywhere.
The one reason I like speed is that speed running is such a big thing in
Yeah.
this. Like you've all
Yeah.
talked about how speed running was a big part for you guys. Like, is there another phrase that is speed in it?
The Swift Sickness Award.
Oh, that's good though. Swift sickness.
Swift
I love that.
sickness.
That feels
Yeah,
like
what's
something that
precise
somebody
and
in the game
fast?
would say.
Yeah, that's true. I'm still trying to think of what's precise and fast. I keep thinking of
Yeah,
like fighter jets or like laser guided missiles. I keep thinking of Sonic, the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Give it the Peregrine Falcon
International
Award.
Speed Award. Yeah.
Would what? Precision?
Oh yeah, precision.
Is that
and
what you're
speed.
saying?
Yeah.
Precision? Yeah.
Yeah.
Accuracy?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a well-oiled machine or something. It's like you're becoming. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I keep thinking of Speed Demon. I know it's not the punchiest title, but it captures very well. I wish there was a synonymous phrase.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have written on a thing. The only issue I have with it is that it feels not accurate to the It's like if we gave Elden Ring best map. It's like kind of there, but it's like that's not really what we're saying.
Yeah.
And as much as the speed, like it's the slickness and the precision. The speed is part of that for sure, but it's
No,
like
slickness is good. If there's another word for slick, because that is it's a game that makes you feel cool in doing these things. It's not
Right.
just about like it's about like
Smooth?
stylish speed or like the like yeah.
deft. Smooth is kind of the opposite of what this is as well, though. It's more sharp than anything.
Yeah, it's more like jarring.
Yeah, it's frantic.
dexterous.
It's very like
dexterous demon.
The Dexterous Demon Award.
it's not terrible.
Sounds good as Speed Demon. It doesn't sound, Speed Demon sounds so good, but fuck.
It's all right. We could bounce to Pentiment for a minute and brainstorm a little bit because that's kind of the other tough one. Though.
I don't know. I think we got it locked
Yeah,
in.
let's go to an easy one. So
Okay.
God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
Are we saying Father of the Year?
I am. I think I made my case.
So what's?
It makes
Yeah,
me
you
laugh,
did, you
and
did,
I
that's
think
true.
I feel like it is both funny and it also encapsulates a very serious element of the game that resonated with Jesse, who is the biggest
true.
advocate of this game.
Okay, can I? I'll ask one question. Is it Father of the Year or is it Dad of the Year?
Atreus only ever says father if he doesn't say Kratos.
Okay. Okay, good.
The Father of the Year, Sir award.
Father
of the
slash
Year.
Sir of the Year. Yeah.
Father, Sir of the Year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got that one in. Horizon Forbidden West. Now that we have Elden Ring's grandest adventure, Horizon Forbidden West.
Robot Road Trip.
Ooh,
Oh, that's good.
man.
That's it. That's it.
Right away he gets it.
Is it though? Is it an award? That's we're back at the award problem.
Well, okay, but here's my counter argument to the superlatives only: is that rediscovering mystery is not a mostest, bestest, and I still feel like it's an incredibly prestigious award.
It is because it has the feeling of like this is a category, whereas I don't think Robot Road Trip is the feel. You know, rediscovering mystery award sounds like the Palme d'Or. Or something, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It feels like it's a.
Like there's nothing else is in the running for Robot Road Trip.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, maybe one day there'll be more games like that.
Yeah.
Best engineered road trip. I don't know.
I like that because of the robot.
I think-
Mechanical.
yeah.
Road Trip feels very on point with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Agreed.
especially because it's like the American West, deserts and mountains and all that sort of shit. It's like funnest road trip or best road trip.
Road Trip
or-
to Remember.
Oh, that's nice. Road Trip to
cute.
Remember feels good. I'm
It's
not
not
sure.
punchy, but it's sentimental, kind of in a nice way.
My only problem is I would actually say that this is a game that, unlike Pentiment and Signalis and lots of other ones, that I have largely forgot about my experience playing. So I don't like. I actually really enjoyed the moments of it, but it didn't like stay with me or anything. You know what I mean? Like.
That's
In
very
the same
funny.
way that like a lot of 3D action games don't. so it just feels like a bit contradictory to that is the only problem. Road Trip. What's like yeah, Road Trip to Remember is like a good.
Yeah. Final Fantasy
so
15
good.
would have
I
won
want to say
that.
like Spring Break.
Ooh.
Or, I don't know.
Spring Break.
Yeah, exactly. It has that vibe to me.
'Cause it came out in the
Yeah.
spring too. There is best Spring Break,
Spring Break.
best Vacation.
Yeah,
Nice
vacation.
Yeah.
Vacation. Although you were definitely moving a lot. It's not like a vacation where you go
Yeah.
one place.
It's vagabond vacation. You just never
What's like
sitting
the
around.
European road trip? What's the Euro trip thing called? Maybe that's the same
Euro
thing. but,
trip.
like where you hit a bunch of destinations in one quick burst. I don't know if and that's where like Wanderlust
I don't
ties
know.
into that too. But I don't know.
Pilgrimage. I'm sorry. It's
I think we
not-
should give
it's not
Horizon
bad.
Forbidden West Best Adventure. That's what
Most
Best
pilgrimage.
looking road trip.
Oh, yeah.
High fidelity road trip. Best colorful road trip. It's like colorful and exciting and fun and lovely and just like peaceful and
Is there
What
like
else-
a
what else have
theme
you go-
park Disneyland? I'm trying to think of that.
I'm thinking more towards like woods and like nature and camping
Okay.
and things like that. What would be like a camping or like nature
rejuvenative,
like a
Yeah.
like you go on a walk, like a hike.
soul serenity.
Hike. I'm thinking more verbs than adjectives
Backpacking or
or
like
adverbs.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, backpacking, exactly that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Although
the
road
like
trip might just do it.
through hiking or like yeah, like I keep thinking of like the PCT and people who do like 1,000-mile hikes
right.
over time. That's kind of the
That's
vibe
kind
it
of
is.
like a pilgrimage. PCT. People do it with their shoes as well, don't they?
What do you mean?
Do they do? They do. The,
Oh, you mean they walk the whole thing?
yeah, walk the whole thing
Yeah.
with no shoes.
Yeah.
Which is a very
Yeah, that's-
pilgrimagey things to do. In
That-
Europe, you
those-
just do pilgrimages in places like fucking Spain. So it's like, you know,
Stop for a beer every
how hard
20
could it be?
miles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I do road trip I feel like is fitting, but I see what you're saying that it doesn't have the kind of like oneness with nature, reverence and solitude to it that I feel like is from your descriptions of this game it feels very much like it's simulating that feeling of walking in the woods and being like kind of the peace of just like
Yeah,
these
it's like
places devoid of
gratifying or
humanity.
something.
Yeah.
Or pleasurable. Frank, do you have to drop out?
In like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, we got 5 minutes left of Frank. He's had enough of these fucking 5-hour-long podcasts. Let's get out of here. Don't blame him. Yeah. Gratifying, relaxing road trip award. Chillest road trip. Chillest, because there's chill water in the game as well.
Interesting.
You shoot the chill water a lot.
And there are
Chillest road trip I like.
Yeah, there's a lot of chill.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of chill road trip games, but I get what you're saying.
That's true. It is kind of a chill game,
It is-
though, isn't it? Like, even when it's like hard.
There's
I
moments
don't
where you're
find
fighting
it-
like venomous robot snakes. Pretty chill. It's pretty chill.
Hey, that happens on every road
You're
trip,
right,
dude.
Yeah. Well,
For
maybe
some
for
reason,
you,
I find
Jeremy.
it like. For some reason, I've never found it though to be like it's not Elden Ring where it's like hard. Like it feels like I'm stressed. I've never felt stressed playing this game. Maybe I'm just such
Yeah,
a
you're too
hardcore
hardcore
gamer.
for me, man. I was dying off every time I played that game. It was awful. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, road trip. But what adjective?
Let's come back to
Yeah.
it. Chillest road trip.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there for now.
Cool.
We'll see
I have some thoughts on Pentiment superlative.
Okay,
here, if we wanna
Pentiment,
bounce
go.
back to that.
All right.
I think it is. This
Nosiest
game has.
bitch.
It's nosiest bitch. I've circled back around and I've changed my mind. No, it's something about how much heart this game has. It's either the depths of its humanity,
Right.
like most humanity, or like depths of humanity award, or it's something about like how much heart it has, like the Sacred Heart award, or like the something about how much heart it has.
Heart and
Because-
History Award.
Oh, that's nice. History with heart, or like the heartfelt history.
Can you give it the
History
Tapestry of the
Award.
Heart award? Because like it's tapestry in the game. Tapestry is like a collection of all the stuff. The heart is like literal and
That's-
figurative, right?
Yeah,
I don't think tapestry and heart mix is the only problem. Do they?
I don't know.
it's
For you guys?
Yeah, I don't know.
Metaphorical
it's,
level?
It's not bad, but yeah, I don't know. I do like tapestry, but I'm not sure tapestry of the heart gets it. Like, yeah, I don't know.
feels-
It's tough.
Heart and History feels a little bit like rediscovering. It actually rhymes with it too, but like where it's like it's a pre Heart and History Award. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily need it to mention history, in my opinion, because I think that
Okay.
this story could be
Yeah.
like cyberpunk, and if it was written with the same care and attention and humanity, it would be equally as effective.
Is there something about history coming to life? I don't know if that. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you are like not really time traveling, but like I was really even blown away by it. Just the little I played, where it's like, oh, this is so like I don't want to reuse immersive, but it's like, oh,
It's
crap,
authentic.
I'm learning by how much detail and love is in this.
What about
Yeah,
social tapestry?
Living tapestry.
Oh.
Social studies, yeah.
social tapestry is pretty good.
'Cause
Yeah, or like community, something about community, or
Yeah,
like
that-
found family.
That's what I was thinking with social, was that it feels like social studies or social.
Social fabric. Tapestries are made of
sweet.
fabric.
Yeah.
Oh, social fabric. Social
Yeah,
you
so
go.
like the yeah, yeah, or like
just because it is about society, like it's about individuals, and obviously I haven't completed it yet,
Yeah.
but it does seem to be about like largely it seems to be the story of the town.
Yeah,
kind of is
for
the
sure.
whole-
yeah,
So
like
community, social.
Yeah, social fabric. Social fabric is a good one, but it feels like it's lacking the laudatory element again. I
Yes,
feel like it's
I
not
agree.
celebrating. It's not saying like most social fabric. The like.
What would you call like a festival or a fete or something or a fair?
Oh yeah, there is a lot of that in the game as well.
Historic is a very like laudatory term, so I'm trying the historic
Oh, yeah.
like, award. The
That's actually a
historic-
good point. Historic humanity
You get
award.
that for free, don't you?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because historic humanity is not only it's like historical, but it's like a historic
You're right.
achievement.
Yeah.
In
That's
humanity.
good.
Historic humanity is pretty good.
And it also is a testament again to Obsidian's like craft for characters and world building. Like
Yeah, that
Good
feels
call,
laudatory in a way that isn't. Yeah, good job, Frank. I think that's a
Yeah.
good connection because I feel like talking about the fact that it's a historical game is important, but it's not the most important thing. But I do think including it in this way is clever.
Historic Humanity Award.
Yeah,
yeah.
We'll leave it there for now and kind of come back.
yeah. Let's revisit it because I do want to like. I wish we could say like depths of humanity because historic humanity kind of just sounds like it's like it's about like human history. But I guess humanity is communicating it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's good enough for now.
Historic History Award. Okay, Neil White, we got to knock it out. We got to do it. Frank, are you able to stick around? Or
Yeah, for Neon White.
Yeah, okay.
What about demonic speed? It's speed demon, but reversed, and demonic makes it sound like the speed is like a superlative.
There's also like I'm thinking of now like
Yeah.
Monster Energy having that like energy drink vibes because it is like it gets you jacked and like hyper. Oh man,
demonic speed is good.
Turbo.
Most demonic speed.
Possessed by speed.
The Spirit of
Railing
Speed
Lines
Award.
of Speed with the Boys Award.
Spirit of speed. Yeah. Diabolical, fiendish,
It's trying to.
Heaven.
satanic speed.
It's trying to get the
award.
accuracy in there that I think is hitting us.
Yeah.
There's no fun word for fast. And
I
accurate.
also was thinking biblically
Wicked
accurate
fast.
Would be,
Wicked Fast.
Boston.
The Wicked
Shout out
Fast
Boston.
Award.
Wicked fast.
Yo, this game's wicked
Yeah.
fast, dude.
Yo, the Wicked Fast.
Yeah,
What
that
about
catches
like
the vibe of the game too.
Yeah, Wicked Fast is pretty good, and Wicked has obviously the double meaning there with like evil.
Yeah.
Wicked Fast is pretty good.
It's an award though. I guess it is because it's fast. Does it feel more award than Speed Demon? Speed Demon arguably feels more award, but it just doesn't. It feels
I think Wicked Fast captures the
known
vibe of the
phrase.
game more, and I'd be happy if I worked on this game to get an award called the Wicked Fast Award. It'd be funny as hell.
wicked fast. It does imply that it's more superlative than Speed
Yeah.
Demon for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know
Wicked.
why.
Wicked is a
Wicked is a-
modifier in a way, like most.
Yeah, and it's
Most,
kind of
most fast.
and because it's like so
Most
it's
fastest.
not used that much, it sounds stronger or like more fast or more precise or something because it's a
Yeah.
less where speed is a sort of a more normally used word or something.
Yeah.
So
And it sounds like all 5 of my friends named Sully from Boston are saying it. Which is
Oh,
fun.
you go Wicked
Right.
Fast. You go
Yo,
wicked
this game's wicked
Wicked
fast.
Fast.
I wonder if there
Oh.
wicked is there another I wonder if there's another word for award we could spin in here that would actually help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like trophy, prize, accolade.
Yeah.
Adderall accolade.
What's a heavenly award?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, like when they bestow something upon you, like God has given
Yeah.
you something, right? Or whoever.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoever you believe.
Whoever you want to say.
Or
There's a
Satan.
crown-
Yeah, Satan.
a crown.
Whatever you do, you know.
We don't want to exclude Satanists here.
Yeah, what is a heavenly award?
Can we give it the Heavenly Delight Award? That's just a thing for
Glory comes to
Glory.
mind.
Glory. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gone again. I mentioned
All right.
Satan. That's it.
Your brain is heating the
Camera.
room so
yeah,
much.
yeah, steam coming out of my ears. You can't see it because of the headphones.
Yeah.
Okay. Wicked fast. Wicked fast.
How do Christians talk about like the what's awaiting you in heaven? I feel like there's something there that Jesse's alluding to with like the,
Yeah,
the
you're right.
reward, like I guess they talk about like eternal salvation, which is maybe eternal is a pretty good word. I like eternal.
Eternal is not bad.
That has religiosity.
There's something
You're
called the Crown of Glory. Glory's good though.
That does sound like an award.
That sounds like some Protestant shit. I don't know. Sorry to all our. I mean, what is it called? Well, just to turn the gun on myself here. What's the Catholic? What was the Lutheran thing he was against? It was the what do you call the phrase where you pay for forgiveness? Whatever that was called.
Tithing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
All
I
that
think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have anime Molly written in.
If I had
Molly.
if I had to
That
name
rocks.
it, I would again say high speed sickness. I just like the way
Ugh.
it's the high speed sickness.
So
award.
fast you're
I don't know
puking.
what that is anyway. Yeah. Because there's a lot of verticality in it too, but then there's Angel, one wicked angel.
I just feel like it needs like religiosity too, like rocket powered.
Wicked doesn't feel. It's almost there. There's a element of devilness with Wicked, which I like, but it seems
Yeah.
more like Spirit Halloween than it does, God fearing. But then Neon White is kind of Spirit Halloween
It is.
esque. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not. It's a
I mean,
bit-
that's what the whole name, like Neon White as a title, clicked so hard for me when I played a little bit of the game because it's the gaudiness of like a neon
Yes.
sign
Yeah.
welcoming you
You're
to heaven.
right. You're right. Gaudiness.
Gaudy.
Gaudy.
Oh
Gaudiness.
shit, that's
Gaudiness.
really good. Godly,
Gaudy,
like
yeah.
GAUD
Righteous?
LY.
Righteous.
Yeah.
Gaudiness before godliness. or something.
Yeah, or like God's glory, but it's GAUD or yeah, I don't know. That doesn't feel like praising
like
though.
Speed God.
God of
Wait.
speed.
God of speed. Oh yeah, God of speed.
Yeah.
GAUD.
The God of Speed, because there's God of War. Also, God of Speed is really sick.
Yeah,
God of
Speed's not bad.
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, God of Speed Award. The God of Speed Award, and spelled like that.
You can't see me pointing at the camera, but I'm doing it.
God of speed. Just because we have another game in here called
That's
God
such-
of War as well.
That's
I
such
think
a good name for a the
God of Speed.
Award.
Is it speed or precision? It has to be speed because it just
Yeah.
it rolls off the tongue, right?
And
Yeah,
you can press
punchy.
F to skip cutscenes.
And you can
Very
press
fast.
F to skip
Exactly.
cutscenes, which we really appreciate.
Yeah,
Ben.
I
Thank
love
you,
it 'cause-
Ben.
Yeah, because again, the leaderboards, you do want to show once you crack it, you do want to get good. You want the Red Ace Award to beat developers.
Yeah,
Like
you
want
wanna
to
be the
become
god.
You
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
be the god of speed, and it is
Yeah.
showy, and
And it's also
everyone's
ostentatious
cosplaying.
to want to be
Yep.
at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
It's gaudy.
So many
You're
layers.
right.
Yeah.
It is. You're right. Oh,
God
that's
of
great.
Speed Award.
Nice work.
Just like Shrek. Good job,
Jeremy,
guys.
Picking
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Holy shit. We got there. Bam. Okay. We have 2 left that are half done. We have Horizon Forbidden West, which has Road Trip, and then we have Historic Humanity for Pentiment. Any feelings on either one? Let's mix them in together. Let's just
I thought
like.
I for Horizon as a joke, I thought of giving it the Breath of the Wild award, but that's okay. But
Elden Ring's gonna be pissed.
That's funny.
man, because I also think about like hiking movies. There's that movie Wild with Reese Witherspoon, or like, or what's the Call of the Wild? What is that one? The one about the
Into the
hiker?
Wild.
Into the Wild.
The Alexander Supertramp
Yeah.
one or whatever. Yeah. The the look at a map, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Award.
The Don't Eat Anonymous Berries award.
Yeah, exactly. Here are the 5 things you should not do.
Yeah.
Although we do appreciate your. Yeah. There's a different version of that movie that I think I like more.
Yeah.
Not to get off the rails here, but that movie is so like nostalgic for his journey, but there is a more like man is both beautiful and fallible, I guess. You know, anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good movie. I like that movie.
I was just thinking of like the best. It's like the best vacation you can take inside your house. Like you're still like getting
Staycation.
Best. Yeah, the staycation
that's
award.
pretty
Where
good.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, but then I feel like Elden Ring is. Oh no, because that doesn't
Elden
feel
Ring
like a
is
vacation.
stressful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Staycation
That
works
feels like
if you're
it's a
in-
pilgrimage or like climbing
You're in
a mountain,
California,
yeah.
right? It's West Coast.
Yeah, staycation. You're
Chill
having
vibes.
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Yeah, we're just hanging out in Oakland in the game, wondering where the city's going. What the fuck?
Chillest
Staycation.
vibes.
Chillest staycation.
Then I'm thinking of like SoCal rock, like California Love or Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm thinking of like those sublime like SoCal vibes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because it does feel more road trippy to me. Because to me, I could not wait to hit the coast. Like
Yeah.
it was all about getting to the coast. It's like best road trip. Like
I
it's.
like
I think it's just best road trip.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like
There's an Elden Ring. We're just
that's
like,
what
we got a good word.
Yeah, because
Californication.
the difference with Elden Ring is I feel like it's not like you never knew where you were going. Like it wasn't as if you were getting to the end because you didn't know where the end was. It was just like, and what do we have first? Grandest adventure. Yeah, it feels.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like you're just
You know.
going somewhere, like you're just going to go in Elden Ring.
You're going up. You're going
But in
down.
Forbidden
you're going
West,
that
you
way.
you put pins in the map. You're like, I'm gonna go here. I want to check this out.
Well, you're literally walking the distance as well. Whereas in Elden Ring, there's a lot of like you getting fucking flown around
Exactly.
into different weird places or on elevators to fucking magical places up and down, you know, or fucking getting in a coffin. Frank, do you got to bounce?
I do have to go. Should I just leave my thing on, or how should I handle it? Sorry to mess
No,
it up.
you can bounce out and it'll just upload.
just-
Frank, Godspeed, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Game. Have a great holiday. Have a great
Yes.
happy Christmas. Have a
man.
great.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening and enjoy all the games. And I'm excited to listen to the back half of this. But thank you everyone for listening, indulging in all this. I love you guys. I'm excited to game more, game harder. Good luck with the rest of the discussions. I love
You're
you
the
all.
best,
Take it
dude.
easy, man.
Take
See ya.
care.
Thanks, guys.
See you later,
Love
man.
you. Happy Christmas, Merry Holidays, all that good stuff. Happy Jeremy's birthday as well.
Hell yeah.
And then
the most important thing.
how do I end my recordings? I don't want to glitch it.
You just hit stop or leave. Is it leave? I think. Yeah, just get out.
Yeah, maybe
get
leave,
out of
yeah.
here.
He's gone.
Get out of here.
He's left.
For people who want to know, we use a service called Riverside.fm to record.
Not
this,
sponsored.
on video. Not sponsored. No, they should. It's pretty expensive. I had to upgrade our Libsyn last night because we've uploaded so much podcast this month.
That's cool.
Hit our limit. Yeah. So there you go.
Very pro.
So we're on the last one, folks. Pentiment.
Okay, I think it has to be. So I like. Okay, Layers of Humanity is good, but it's not good enough. But it expresses. If you beat this game, you would understand why it's brilliant. But I think that's too inside baseball because I think it will speak to only people who have played and completed the game. Maybe. I like something about like social fabric of humanity, threads
Tapestry
of
of humanity.
I like Tapestry of Humanity as well. I think that this game is all about appreciating what came before and like understanding the context of the people that you're talking to, where they come from, where like communities come from, things that came before, and how everything comes from something else. Everything emerges out of what came before, on a micro and a macro scale.
We had human tapestry, but it got balked because it did sound like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
But Tapestry of Humanity
I like that.
award. It's
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That feels
think
pretty
that's
good to
good.
me. Yeah, unless anyone has any refinements to offer, I think that's pretty fucking
Yeah.
good.
It's got tapestry in there. It's got.
Yeah.
Should we do one more look around all of them and see
Yeah.
how we feel?
Let's do
Okay. That might be all of them. Okay. Noclip's 10 games of the year and 4 others we really liked. Vampire Survivors, Best Fang for Your Buck. Return to Monkey Island, Impossible Comeback. Elden Ring, Grandest Adventure. Cult of the Lamb, Sweetest Execution. Immortality, Best Picture. Neon White, God of Speed. Citizen Sleeper, Narrative Shishimi Award. Signalis, Survival Horror Homecoming. Weird West, Occult Classic. Tunic, Rediscovering Mystery Award. If you've never seen, we have a documentary called Rediscovering Mystery. Go check it out. Pentiment, Tapestry of Humanity Award.
So good.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Gaming with the Homies Award. Horizon Forbidden West, Best Road Trip. And God of War Ragnarok, Father of the Year.
That's a damn good list.
It's a good list, all right?
It's a damn
Good?
fine list. There's a lot of hours of collective effort put into
Yeah,
these
so
awards.
much mental energy.
And yeah.
You
I
mean
hope
the
that
people who
shines
made
through.
them or us?
No, I
talking
mean
about
we
them?
worked way harder
absolutely.
than those people.
Yeah. Easily.
Last time I did this, I broke my camera. I need to look at the podcast comments from last week's episode, which, spoilers, went up today. We're recording this on the same day. To see if there's any additional awards that have been read out so far, but it has not been up super long, so I'm not. For Weird West, you'd almost want to give it the Cask of Amontillado Award. Is that what the Cask of Amontillado must be? Some sort of treasure. Remember we were asking about treasures?
Oh,
That must
okay.
be one. Just riffing off your discussion for Citizen Sleeper, do androids dream of narrative sashimi?
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's good.
That's like the joke I was doing about do androids dream of electric sheep mixed
Yeah.
with Jiro dreams of sushi. I feel like the problem with that I ran into, that this person is also running into, is that it is so many references deep that you need to have narrative sashimi as a jumping off point to understand the connection to sushi.
Right, yes, you're right.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
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 Because it just feels like a reference to something that nobody has known yet. Yeah, I don't know. It's good though. It's better than my version of it.
Western Cowboy Hidden Treasures are Stash, people were saying. Stash is a good one, but I feel like Occult Classic is too good.
Yeah,
We've
you
kind
gotta.
of closed the book on that one. Yeah, I do feel like, I will say Narrative Shishimi Award is the only one that, like, on a sort of on a aesthetic level doesn't please me or something.
Really?
Is there like a better way to say it? Purely in like a best narrative sashimi, or I don't know what it is. It's like sashimi is a weird word, I think is what
I
it
think
is.
sashimi is a superlative term because sashimi is the best fish. It's fish that you're eating raw. It's no preparation. It's so good that you're like, you shouldn't dress it up with even like soy sauce and pickled ginger and wasabi. You're just like eating a piece of fish to experience it for what it is. It's pure. It's high quality.
So I feel like getting rid of a word might be better then.
Yeah, narrative sashimi.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Because award kind of in a way just steps on the toes of what you're getting from the superlative from sashimi.
Yeah.
Go eat some sashimi, everyone. I'm fucking hungry now.
I know, that's making me hungry.
Sashimi. Oh my god. Okay, that's it.
I think we did it.
Hey, you know what else is cool? None of the games that came out in December made it on the list, and by the sounds of it, maybe shouldn't have.
Ragnarok came out December 8th, right?
Oh, did it?
something
Okay,
like
that came out.
But
Yeah,
otherwise,
all right.
yeah.
I was thinking about games like we missed. Like I have not played Callisto Protocol yet, but it sounds like it's had a bit of a rough launch.
Chained Echoes is supposed to be very good. Just came out
I've
this
heard that
month.
as well.
Have not played it yet.
Yeah. It's on Game Pass.
It is solo dev made JRPG inspired pixel art RPG. Supposed to be very good.
Chrono
I have
Trigger.
2 friends who are playing it and they're both loving it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to
I
be
am
very good.
going to on a wonderful recommendation from your household, Jesse. I'm going to play Tinykin over the break.
So many people have been
nice.
picking that up, messaging me. I saw
Right.
comments from which
Really?
Cassie appreciates. Everyone being like, "Thanks for showing me Tinykin." So if that game ends up being like the hit of 2022,
I know.
no one played. Big ups to Cassie. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, we
yeah.
might have to. Maybe in January we'll do a little
catch up.
little run around as well. I'm trying to think what other ones. I guess High on Life came out a couple of days ago. I played the first couple of hours of it.
It's funny. I'm laughing at it, but it's so stupid.
Yeah, I like those games. I don't watch
Ricky Morty.
What's the
Rick and Morty,
cartoon? I don't. I've never really watched Rick and Morty much before, but the funniest game I think I've ever played in my entire life is the
Accounting?
Accounting. That
yeah.
VR game they put out. I was in tears.
really good.
Really
That's
good.
one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. That guy who comes out of the tree is just like, "That is my tree. That is my thing." Get away. Like whatever. Anyway, I'm fucking
really
into
good.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've,
Sorry, go ahead.
no.
I was just going to say Who's Lila I mentioned the other day, but I feel like that also deserves to
Right.
be on this list. It is incredibly unsettling and one of those games like Inscription and other games that break your frame of reference. Daniel Mullins, who made Inscription, has another game that has one of the most profoundly terrifying moments in it because of the way it like the painting reaches out and grabs your real life and is like, look what I can fucking do to you, and it's
Oh, no.
horrifying.
Which one?
And Who's Lila is similar.
Pony Island? Yeah, okay. All right.
Oh, Pony
Yeah.
Island. Yeah. God, yeah. I haven't thought about that forever.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other games came out this year that people talked a lot about that I haven't played enough of, like Hardspace Shipbreaker
Yeah.
came out of early access this year and has done incredibly well as well. Dwarf Fortress obviously came out as well while we were doing this. Loads of stuff. Loads of documentaries coming to Noclip next year. By the way, folks, if you're a little apologies to, there's been very little on the Patreon side this month, and we are not going to have a Patreon podcast as it happens. I might as well spill the beans now. I got COVID a couple of weeks ago. I'll talk about how it impacted some of our projects soon enough, but I literally tested negative today for the first time in like, I don't know, 12 days or something. I spent the past week sleeping in the office so I would not infect the rest of my family. And as a result, I was like super brain foggy and just couldn't. There was some stuff. I was basically like trying to edit the Heart Machine episode 2, which should be out next week. It should be out by the time this goes up. But I was not in a position to. I didn't have bad symptoms, I don't think, but I was trying to recover as fast as I kind of could. So I was we didn't have a patron show because of that. I didn't have any other stuff, but we did manage to get 7 or 8 hours of Game of the Year podcasts out, so I'm pretty happy about that, if nothing else. Final thoughts, gents, on the year that was 2022. Jesse?
Weird year, fast year. A lot happened. A lot of like cool stuff. A lot of weird stuff. I think this is the first year this is the first full year of freelance for me, which was very cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's been nice.
And you got engaged?
And I got engaged, which apparently came up second in my brain to the freelance work. Maybe that's sad. Sorry, Cassie.
This is a video games
exactly,
podcast,
yes.
at least, so
I'm
you have
talking
that
about
excuse.
work, which is video games.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a better year than 2020 and 2021, which is saying a lot and nothing
Yeah.
at the same time. And only better for me. I feel like a lot of things were bad globally, but otherwise, good video games came out this year. So
Yeah.
there's that.
It was. I feel like it was people were talking about, and I can see how there's definitely like the slowdown in the AAA space for sure has happened. But like, look at these 10 games, these 14 games we have here, and like the vast majority of them are smaller games, if not made by. Some of them are made by that sweet spot that was gone for a while. Those like 30-person teams. You know
that,
what I mean?
Double
Like
A kind of
those kind of
space. Yeah.
Yeah, the double ace games. There's a lot of those, and there's a lot of like straight up indie games that had the feeling of a game that would have been double A. You know, maybe in the past as well. There's a lot there, I think. And one of the things that I've enjoyed is especially from this game of the year process is playing a lot of games that I either bounced off of or didn't feel like I had the time for, which I've really relished. Like games like Tunic, Pentiment, Signalis, mostly based off of Jeremy's initial praise like 2 months ago. Immortality for sure. These are games that I would, and Neon White, all of those games are games I had not played enough of, and basically you guys got me to play them. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. And for Noclip, it was what type of year was it? It was a good year in lots of ways. I would say we stabilized the bleed on Patreon a little bit, which was good. We have an attrition on Patreon. We're still not building back on it, but I think the podcast has done a lot of work for giving something like keeping us in people's minds a lot, which was quite cool, and making the patrons happy with stuff that we have. It's always such a fucking balancing act running something like this. I'm very happy to be back in the studio. I think that's cool. I spent a decent amount of the COVID time doing up the studio, and wallpapering and doing things like that, just to give me something brainless to do while I was in between jobs. And I'm excited to use that next year. And then I think from a documentary perspective, like we did a lot of very weird stuff. Like I feel like the Crystal Dynamics doc was an interesting first time back in a studio, but like some of our most popular ones we did the Black Mesa doc, which Jeremy did an incredible amount of work on.
Thank you.
That was a team effort, but you did loads of the whole early lifting on that thing, all the editing basically, up until I just like trimmed up some of it. An amazing job. It's got 2.2 million views, dude. That thing really was something
That's
else.
wild.
We went off and filmed in the desert for that. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
We camped out in the desert. Greatest hits had some great hits this year. We did actually only had one, but it was a really good one. Black and White. Isn't that amazing? We only did one the entire year. I thought we did two, but I think the DMA one was. Oh no, the DMA one was January. I was right. Was I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, we did two. The Grand Theft Auto and DMA one. The Among Us doc was a lot of fun. We put out a lot of the gameplay for Doom and Ravenholm, which was fun. The Bloodborne PSX doc, we started doing Hyperlight development as well. A Rogue Legacy 2 doc. We did Hotline Miami as well. A lot of stuff came out this year. So, and then not to say nothing of Noclip Crew, which has been growing and bouncing along quite nicely. So I'm excited to do all that sort of stuff. Jeremy, final thoughts on the year?
For Noclip, I think it was a good year. I think the Black Mesa doc was cool because I think it proves that we can produce things that like do high production value on things that doesn't necessarily involve being boots on the ground in a studio. I think that like those are some of my favorite interviews we've ever done, and they're on webcams. And I think that just going out and doing our own thing in the desert and camping and just doing a weird little adventure is like, yeah, it was a way to reinvent our kind of MO for how we do docs, but it was still the same flavor of kind of what Noclip has always done. And for video games, I just feel like this year was absolutely incredible. I don't know. I feel like my game of the year last year, there's a lot of games I liked. I feel like this year there was so many games that I loved, and in a way where they're not just experiences I have that entertain me, but they're pieces of art that like actually imbued me with like something special. They left me with something that I'll be thinking about for the rest of my life. And I feel like that's the important thing about art in general. Not to get too high concept with this, but like I think that video games as a medium are capable of everything that, you know, great paintings have done, great pieces of literature, great pieces of cinema. I think video games are legitimized when people working in games make, you know, pieces of art that touch upon the depths of humanity. When I cry 5 times in the last 3 hours of Pentiment, it's like, it's that feeling of seeing a really sad, profoundly beautiful movie, being like, why do I do this to myself? Like, why don't I just watch something that's like entertaining and fun? And it's like, oh, because this is the power of art, is to shake us out of the slumber of everyday life and to remind us of the depths of the human experience. And I think that when games do that, it reminds me that they're really important, that it's not a distraction from life. It's a celebration of what life is really about, which is about, you know, the beautiful experiences you can have, highs and lows, and the depths of the human experience. So yeah, I think games are important, and when games come out like those games that we've talked about, it reminds me that this is like, you know, this is art, this is important, this is like what being human is all about.
Fucking glad Frank's not here. It would have been a hard act to follow. glad I asked you last. Yeah, fair play, well said. Thank you all as well for listening, everyone who's been helping us grow this thing over the past year or so. We've got great listenership on the podcast now, and on YouTube we've got people watching too, which is quite fun. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Happy Christmas, happy whatever you support whatever team you support, whatever god
team you're rooting for,
you know, Baphomet, or, you know, whatever, the old god, new god, the 7, the eyes of the 9, blessings of Stendar upon ye. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry if I'm not. Sorry, we talked a lot about a lot of bad things in this Game of the Year podcast. I'm just rubbing salt in the wounds now. Have a great time. Stay safe. Stay COVID free. Take it from me, and enjoy it. And we'll see you on the other side in 2023.